Hello.
Hey everyone, and great to have you along. And we are currently in Arabelle. We've discovered some disturbing evidence in Arabelle of subversion. The Lady Lord Morwen, who rules here, is a mature woman whose prestigious career has left her with a reputation of as even-handed, as courageous, as resourceful, as caring, and as she gets older, increasingly maternal, or perhaps grand maternal, is a better phrase. Um, and thus to find that she has emptied the fields of most of its workers, destroyed the prosperity of most of its industries, and conscripted everyone, boy or girl, above the age of 14 or 12 if they're particularly large, into a military that is currently learning some of the basics of spearcraft and how to hold a shield and how to fire a bow and so on. So she's assembled this enormous army. The population of Arabelle is probably about 30,000, though a lot of people think it's a fair bit bigger than that. But whatever the case, there are 10,000 soldiers here, of which 2,000 are competent enough to be called professional, and of which the other 8,000 are so incompetent that you'd barely call them militia. But they're learning, and they're being drilled pretty hard and pretty fast by some very competent instructors in the form of purple dragons. Cormier does have a strong and experienced military, so there's no shortage of trainers. As I recall, we are up on the stage, or some of us are. Is that right? And we have just uncovered a literal hand behind the throne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Yes,
just
so break that down for
dropped
me.
their invisibility.
So.
All right. Where are we? Because I never remember.
Well, if I recall, I think I was up on the stage along with Moog and Artisan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And yeah, Carrick. I keep saying Carrick instead of Flightless. Flightless with his robe of eyes noticed that there was an invisible, shadowy figure standing behind the Lady Lord Morwen, and with Sildarin's help, used a message to tell me that they existed. I then go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. All right. So we're rolling for initiative then, I guess.
Yeah, I challenged the Lady Lord Morwen to a duel.
Yeah. What was that? Sorry. Sirloin?
Challenged the Lady Lord Morwen to a duel. And I guess knightly honor couldn't resist accepting even through suggestion.
That's right. Yeah.
Use my divine authority as an agent of Seamorph to call her out and say that she's not worthy of her noble title. If she believes otherwise, then to prove it. I was sitting fairly close, I guess 15 feet outside of weapon range.
Okay, then I guess we would be on that side with her, flanking her.
Alright, so a duel has been called and has been accepted. Alright. Horror. Horror and amateur foolishness. Like a metaphorical wizard version of being caught with one's pants down.
Hard to say.
Would we be up there or would we be underneath her talking, like down on the floor? Like, does that make sense to be up on the same venue
I
as
remember
her?
it being, at least for me at least, I remember it being described that I was sat beside her. So I can't
Okay.
imagine being
You're
much
at the
further in.
table, yeah. And the place is a relatively flat area anyway, because like it's not usually used for grand displays of military might, but rather for judging hog festivals and for making public announcements and stuff like that. Like it's a country stage rather than anything grand or militaristic. So it's there's every chance that that we are on a similar level, but there are soldiers everywhere, and I should obviously indicate that by putting a few down. Yeah, yeah. They're down in the crowd. There's like thousands and thousands of soldiers, quite literally, and that's what this is meant to represent. These are people training and learning how to use weapons. Exactly right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Whereas the people up here on the stage are likely the best that the purple dragons can provide. Probably enough of them. Though there is a never-ending supply of reinforcements in a pool this large. Okay, so the duel is announced and accepted. The Vizier attempts to intervene and it fails. She is revealed. Artisan, do you have any reaction?
Do I have any reaction?
It's your go. So, as the highest initiative, she's just turned visible. What do you do? Like,
That would be
we don't have to
Moog,
do
sir.
anything in this round at all. We don't have to do anything if we don't want to. But maybe someone will.
I think it's Moog first.
Is Moog
Yeah.
higher? I got a 20 on the initiative here. It says Artisan's
I
at
have a
20.
9.
Moog is a 17.
Yeah, right.
I guess I was at 20, but I rolled again, but didn't realize it. Okay.
Whichever was rolled
Okay.
first is your initiative, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that I had rolled twice. But,
Right, yeah, fair enough. I don't know. Oh, okay. That was from last week. The roll of 20. I just mustn't have cleared it because it's before Phoenix, Shoddy, Short Bow, and all that sort of stuff. So it is definitely Moog. Yeah, yeah. Just well, I didn't clear the initiative order. Moog.
I point my hammer at that and who be that witch?
I have no idea. Deal with it.
Here's my Grand Vizier.
It's the poison that's whispering in your ear. Moog just goes up in front of. Moog's not going to throw something at her or do anything other than call her out at this point.
By default, take the dodge action.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The veterans will close in with their halberds and essentially threaten everyone, but they don't apprehend or arrest or otherwise harass the Vizier.
Are they respecting the duel?
Well, they're not swinging their weapons.
Okay.
Sildarin?
I might just cast protection from evil against Fae.
All right. You can see that the Vizier considers dispelling or at least reacting to your spell, but opts not to.
Alright, now I'll wait and see what else happens.
All right, Lady Eleanor.
I'll throw up Shield of Faith as a bonus action,
Excellent.
and then let my eyes flare with golden energy, and my spectral golden wings spring from my back as I invite Lady Morwen to make the first move.
Artisan.
I kind of want to slap heroism on Eleanor, but might not be the best. I guess I would just take the dodge action.
All right, flightless. All right. All right. The Vizier is going to cast a spell.
Oh.
Don't know what the spell is. That's right. You have are you trained in Arcana? Sure, you can make an Arcana check if you want to consume your reaction. Oh, that'll mean you can't take your action though, so that wouldn't work anyway. Yeah. 20. She is tossing up between a number of spells. That's definitely one of them. Yeah, that's right. But greater invisibility is one of the things. But if she does that, then she might lose everything. So she is going to have to take the gamble and make half the different spell. Gonna have to try again, right? Like it's all or nothing. If this fails, then all of the plans come undone.
I would
So
say
she whispers a suggestion into her ear, which you don't hear, and Lady Morwen stops. You saying something, sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, awesome. And so that's the Vizier's turn. It's then Lady Morwen's turn, and she says, "We shall have this duel at an arranged time in the future."
But you just accepted.
Yes, I have. And I am not declining that acceptance. I am not rescinding it. I am telling you that in the eyes of the gods, we should do this in a more formal fashion, not in make it such a public spectacle, which could embarrass our constituents.
Woman, you are obviously unfit and listening to the words of that demon. There's no delay. It is now or never.
Unfit. You would have the children see me disembowel this wench.
This wench is corrupting your lands. Put an end to her. Put an end to you. You are the poison of the cancer that's destroying your lands.
The people
I
should
have
see the ties
spoken!
of their fate.
She says.
I'll turn my eyes to the quote-unquote vizier. Say, you, what did you say? What did you do? How dare you interfere?
Lady Eleanor, you just in the last declared that she was unfit and you were taking command. She can't say, "Oh no, I'm going to do it." You just charged her with being unfit for service and basically doing.
I will give her time to plead her case, she says, gripping that massive scepter until her gauntlets creak.
Your time is over, woman. You're listening to the evil words of a witch. I step closer.
All right, not another step. The soldiers say, ready to strike.
What are you, an army of evil? Then come and get some. But I'm not going to be following some evil witch. You see her as plain as day. Is that your true leader right there? You see your lands, they're dying. It's because of the words of that evil one.
You can make a persuasion roll if that's what you want to spend your action doing.
Yes, that's Moog does not have good persuasion, so.
Intimidation, probably the same, no doubt.
Intimidation, there you go. Probably not.
It's pretty good. And they do, on one hand they hesitate because you're speaking sense. On the other hand, they are loyal, and they wouldn't have this job if she didn't if she wasn't confident in them. So you can see the reason and acceptance in their eyes, as well as their willingness to die, because that's the sort of men and women that they are.
There'll be no more delaying. This gets settled now.
All right. Well, they close in at this point and prepare to strike with their halberds. They're not going to stand by idly as their lady lord is attacked. But at the same time, there's a logic to your argument that they, as people, accept, even if they can't accept it as professional soldiers. Zelda, and the tension is getting higher.
Moog takes the final thing and steps up and gives the creature a shove with his shield.
That provokes their attacks.
There you go. God bless.
Alright, their only reactions are they only get one attack, but including the guys whose space you step out of, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 strikes.
That's a lot of attacks.
The still defender roll block the one, or attempt to block the one.
Alright, that can be the first one.
Did she shot? Is she prone? Did I prone her with my shield shove? It's a shield master. I can end a turn with a shield
if you make the intimidation check, it's that's your go for that round.
Cool.
Yeah. If you make the dice roll. So the first one is takes from a 22 to a 19. The second one, I guess, will hit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I assume that's the only one that is going to hit.
Yes.
So a halberd blade lodges into your shoulder and hooks you back a little bit, and maybe that's why you don't quite have enough momentum to follow through with the shield bash as you step forward to dwarf slap this mage to the ground.
All right, -11.
Sildur and First Blood has been drawn. But Moog's provocation could hardly be ignored.
We're into it now, eh?
It seems that way.
Yeah.
16.
I do not. I got that.
Oh, that's pretty spicy.
Do I
Whoa.
get? Well, wait. On that, since they missed,
Yes.
one of them that missed, I can take a repose on.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, one of the ones that you're within 5 feet of, yeah.
So I don't have it set up, but my dwarven thrower. I do actually right here. I don't
Cool.
know. It's gonna give me the. There you go. Plus 3. Yeah.
Blubber and time.
So whoever missed me, I'm coming at him with a closest over here with an 11.
Crunch. And you cave their breastplate in and cause them to wheeze as the bruising on the other side of it shocks them and hurts their ribs.
Cool. Which one was that? This one?
This one back here, yeah.
Okay.
Sildren.
Yes, I'll try banishment on the
Banishment.
Vizier.
On the Grand Vizier. Alright, so you cast a spell last round, she didn't dispel it. You cast a spell this time. Again, she doesn't counter it. Something that she may come to regret. But here we go. Wisdom or charisma? Charisma most likely, hey.
Yeah, charisma.
That sucks. Can we make it wisdom instead? Oh, I guess we don't have to. Alright. And her ties to this realm are strong enough that she hangs on. But the look of horror that is on her face is indicative of the fact that she not only didn't think that you could do that, but it's the petrification that would have been the same if you had have cast Power Word Kill or something. You know, like she is absolutely petrified of the fact that you have that ability, and it causes her to completely reassess the situation she's in.
Alright, then I guess I'll move up a little bit.
So, Sildren, you were saying?
Oh, I'm just going to move up a little bit, and that'll be me.
Excellent, Lady Eleanor.
Right. See. I'll say I'll well, I got what I was gonna say, right, as I was gonna open my mouth and then mind blanked. Somebody cast a
Indeed.
spell on me.
Yeah.
Basically something along the lines of that I'll save her from this shadow creature whether she wants me to or not.
Ah.
I will cast Branding Smite, bonus action. And then fly my wings over here to box her in and take my attacks on the Vizier.
Ah.
No hit. And I think I will, I'll smite on both of these, if they're assuming they hit.
Crunch. 24 will strike her unerringly. Ooh.
For 33, I think.
Oh.
And also,
Crippling.
what's the effect of Branding Smite, which is... the target becomes visible if it's invisible and sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius and can't become invisible until the spell ends.
Alright, she is glowing. Right.
Yeah, true.
And the magic is broken. So she's released from the suggestion. Yeah. We're not exactly sure that's going to change things.
Now take my other attack.
Nice. Big numbers.
Does that hit as well?
Yeah.
For
Okay, 27 points then.
27. Also, is she an undead or a fiend?
She is neither. She is neither undead nor a fiend. She is dead. Look, as a DM, you know, there are certain times when, you know, you feel an impulse to fudge the dice, but I generally don't do that, particularly not here in Roll20 where I like everything to be open. And so it would be quite easy for me to pretend that she still has a hit point, and then she could use her legendary action and get away and take the Lady Lord with her. But well, I just wouldn't feel right about it. Tell us how she dies.
I guess I'll fly up over, land where I'm standing right now, and as I land, bring the halberd down, slashing across her body, and then stab forward hard enough to impale her on the end of my halberd, lift her up off the ground, and then toss her off of it.
Excellent. When you slash her, it's not blood that comes out of the wound, but shadow, a kind of dark, smoky mist that hisses out under pressure. When you drive your blade through her chest, she then vaporizes into that same mist-like substance, with little being left behind, save the tattered robes that she was wearing.
Alrighty.
There's no body, there's no skeleton. It's just she vaporizes.
Paladin Nova is no joke. Now I'll call out, the shadow creature is dead. Lay down your arms. We need not continue this
Arrest
fight.
them all! They have killed! Murder! Murder in the first degree! She points the scepter at each of you.
I'll appeal to the men around her. Can you not see this madness? Clearly she is unfit to rule the lot of you.
Perhaps
Do not
they
die
can
for this
see.
insanity.
Perhaps they can see, and perhaps another 8,000, 10,000 people out in the crowd can see. But when your job is to die for your Lady Lord, you die for your Lady Lord. There would be no honor in surrendering here.
Or be knocked unconscious by a dwarven hammer.
Ah, now that is a compromise that I think that we can all agree on.
Yeah.
Artisan.
All right. Can we choose to do non-lethal damage with strikes?
Only melee, yeah.
Yeah, I think the rule
Okay.
is if you reduce a creature to 0 hit points, you can choose whether or not you want to kill them or knock them unconscious. Assuming it's a melee attack. Although I think rules has written you can do it with any attack, which is a bit silly.
I don't think you can. Maybe it's within 5 feet or something, but I thought it was only melee because I don't think you can do it with arrows or spells. Didn't. That's what my understanding. Right. So it's a melee. Yeah. So that is quite specific.
Does melee that do?
Yeah, but they would then die to instant death.
They would die to instant death, yeah. Those rules would conflict, and yeah.
I have a question about my Flame Tongue sword. It deals fire damage as well as but it's part of a melee attack. Can I make that
as long as it's a melee
non-lethal?
attack, then yeah, you can. Like, I don't know how you cauterize the wound. I don't know, but if we pick apart D&D's rules, then might as well play a
It's
different
so
game.
powerful that they just pass out.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I, if I ready my action in case the one beside me attacks Moog, because I'm not entirely sure yet, and I'm kind of hesitant
Yeah, absolutely.
to. If I ready my action, will my extra attack be applied to it?
No. Yeah, you only get the one action.
Okay, that's fine. So I will ready my action to attack the one beside me, in case it attacks Moog, and then my Steel Defender is just poised to try to stop the Lady Lord from hitting anybody.
Alright.
That'll be my turn.
Okay. Flightless. Alright. You close in. The Vizier. That's the end of your turn, right? Okay.
Sounds good.
The Lady Lord looks around and says, I am in charge of this town! Arabelle is mine! And presents her scepter as if she were queen of the region. And for a moment, all of you feel compelled to recognize that she is indeed in charge here, and that you have little recourse.
Oh God.
Everybody make a wisdom saving throw. She holds her scepter, her nethery scepter aloft, and says, I have the power! No, I didn't hear you say that. Maybe I did. Alright, we've got a recording going. I guess I can't really argue with it.
Very
well.
I'm immune to being charmed.
No, well, that's kind of shit, isn't it? Alright. Was Sildarin blessed?
No, but he might have to use his
Unfortunately
inspiration.
not. Alright. And...
Sorry, I forgot I had advantage with the Ouroboros.
Sure, well, 15's going to be enough anyway, so... It's not a spell, so you wouldn't have advantage. I think it only affects spells, the Ouroboros. Not, and that's not a spell. It's just an effect. It's not going to matter, though, I think, because you passed on the first roll, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Yeah, it says advantage against spells, so I didn't have advantage, but I burned inspiration.
Cool.
So I guess that second one would apply anyways.
Yeah, yep, you can use that. That's cool. Alright, very cool. And so she tries to have you fall under the spell. It fails. This is a woman that has an impeccable reputation, and yet here she is attempting to mind control us into submission. How's a man take that?
Come back.
Moog.
So Moog is going to be disarming using the disarming attack.
And Battlemaster.
So I get the so I get to use a superiority die.
Brilliant.
So anyway, Dwarven Thrower plus Unblast. So hopefully, I 30 plus 4.
Fucking what is that?
Plus my
I'm supposed to get that at level 8.
Yeah. Superiority die. I don't know, how do I use that? Where is it? To extra damage, but so that was a disarming attack to knock the scepter out of her hands.
Make a strength saving throw, I think it is.
Done.
DCB. I think that will fail.
However much damage
What would
you
it be? Also, just to confirm, that is 14 damage, right? Not like 20 something.
It's a critical
Right.
hit, isn't it? So
Whatever I get to add the superiority die. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, because I think there's
right.
just some confusion about
No,
this
that's only
before.
one.
Oh, it's always the confusion because it's got two-handed. The second one is the two-handed damage, isn't it? Thanks for pointing that out to me.
Okay, yeah.
So it's 15 damage.
Plus 3. Okay.
All right, but that's good. 15 damage is appropriate because you have smashed her hand. You've cracked open her gauntlet. You've broken the bones within, and your precision and perfect strike has knocked the scepter, called the Imperceptor, straight out of her hands. And
Right.
the instant, yep.
Okay, never mind. Well, I mean, I still have a second attack ready, so
Excellent. And the instant you do that, she falls to her knees, clutching her hand and looking down on it, which no longer has a gauntlet or only the scraps of it, perhaps the chain underneath it while all the plate has broken away.
so where'd the scepter land?
Some 12 feet away, perhaps over near Eleanor.
Perfect. I just say, yield, you bastards, or the next one's going to our head. Let's see what the founder do.
Yeah, and the warriors are about to do what they can to subdue you, which so far hasn't been much. But stand down, she tells them. The scales have fallen from my eyes. Do not touch that weapon, she says. It is cursed. It will steal your mind, as surely as the shadow sorcerer will. And she gets to her feet. These people are heroes, she declares to everyone. My mind is free. It is clear. My clouds no longer clouded by bad judgment. But my heart, my actions, I have sinned gravely. I have been a fool, and I have been weak to fall under this spell. I fear that I must atone for my actions. I am sorry. I have let you all down. Now I must turn to these people and seek their counsel on the way forward. Sergeants, stand your units ready. Give everyone a break. I have seen how hard you have been working, how hard you have been drilling. Give everyone water and bread. Give the young something sweeter, something stronger. And allow me to speak to my viziers, my real viziers, about the way forward. He looks down at her broken hand and gives it a slight rub, and some of the swelling disappears as she lays hands on herself.
Glad
How
that you
did you
once
know?
again see reason.
How did you know? Or was that a lucky strike?
You'd be trying
We
to
were
use
compelled.
kind of warping my mind with that staff you'd be doing. You'd be having no part of it.
Ah, yes. The Imperceptor revealed itself in the end, didn't it? Yes, it seemed to have a will of its own. The Vizier seemed to merely be supplementing it, almost a servant of her own to its incredible will. Who was she?
The woman of shadow?
Yes,
idea.
yes.
I believe
She
that she's gone
evaporated into
now.
nothing.
It seems this
She
darkness is turning everyone in your realm against each other, creating this madness. I would bet that there's viziers like her in every one of your lord's castles.
uses her sword, which is at her side and has been so far. Her ancestral sword, been holding the Imperceptor instead of her ancestral blade. But she draws her blade and picks up the cloak with the blade so that she can examine it. What do these symbols mean? She lays it down on the table and points to various arcane sigils that are barely visible underneath the deteriorating fabric, which itself
Would
appears to be deteriorating in the sunlight. I think
would
so.
identify?
Yeah.
Would identify be able to tell me?
I think it only works on magic items, so it'll depend on whether this is magic or not. Yeah, sure.
Magic or magic imbued?
Right. They're Netherese symbols, but that's as much as you can tell.
I'll go ahead and spend a first level identify, just in case.
All right. This is basically a cloak of protection, so it would give you a minor benefit to your armor class and to your saving throws, but it's specifically fabricated differently. You couldn't make this. You couldn't replicate this. You could not. Making a shadow cloak is a simple task. It's a first or second level magic. It's not very powerful at all. Making this shadow cloak is impossible because it's not connected to the weave. Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, it's not connected to the shadow weave. Yeah, it shouldn't
Both
exist.
of those things. Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't look like it's going to exist for much longer either. It looks like the sunlight is causing it to fizzle away to smoke, shadow stuff. Yeah. They are both Netherese. They both have Netherese iconography. Absolutely.
Didn't we learn something about the Netherese or something? Didn't it fall a long time ago or something along those lines? Oh yeah, isn't that the one where he tried to become his own god, or tried to fight the god
That's
of magic?
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And all that happened roughly 2,000 years ago, a little bit less. And there are no Netherese left. There is a handful of liches, maybe. But that's speculation. But there is no Netheril. Well, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Frostborough doesn't exist. Yeah. Or it's at least it's not where she said it was. Yeah. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They might have, especially since they're seem to be coming in force all over the region. They might have sent people to the future, kind of thing, with how great their magic was.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hmm. And what are we to do with that? Say, gesturing to the mace that's just lying there on the floor.
I can have my Steel Defender pick it up. He can't be charmed. You can't either, but I wouldn't want to risk you.
And we certainly can't just leave it there.
Yeah, I'll have my Steel Defender pick it up.
All right. He looks regal and like he should be in charge. Maybe you should all make a wisdom save. No, maybe.
He's no longer under my control.
There we go. He's now the steel
He's
aggressor.
the final boss.
Steel conqueror.
We should probably lock this in a vault somewhere.
Something that dangerous. Not sure where you'd keep it.
Or
Perhaps you could give it to Elminster in Shadowdale. I would not trust any of the war wizards of Cormier anymore. I suspect that some of them may be behind the disappearance of the Hidden King.
Hmm.
I guess I can, like... Go ahead.
Oh, we are aware that Elminster has gone missing, aren't we?
Didn't he come back?
Yeah, so I'll mention that we attempted to contact him with magic, but it failed. So his fate is currently unknown.
And there are no safe havens to keep such a terrible artifact. Whatever shall we do?
Perhaps if
We tried to... Go ahead.
Perhaps if I am able to resist its lure, the safest place for it might be in my possession.
Perhaps it is. Would you like to try? There are many here who would be able to look after you if your will proves too weak.
Can I identify it?
Put it in a box and
If
carry it that way. Why does someone have to be touching it? It's cursed.
Yeah, if you
I want to try to identify. Yeah.
So
All right, to identify it, you'll have to touch it.
I will send my bird to it because I can do touch spells.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now the bird is going to be the Lord of Arabelle.
At least the bird only has like 1 hit point, so it'd be pretty easy to deal with.
Right. Or does it? This is part of the bird's long con. All right. So is that what you're going to do? Identify with your familiar?
Yeah.
It is the Imperceptor.
Okay, it does look like it's the charm effect.
Would you like to attune to it? No, curses don't show up with identify. I think legend lore they might. No.
Lady, you've been under a spell for quite some time. We've been marching through your lands. They'd be sick. Your farms are falling apart, and your people will be starving soon. Do you think it might be time for you to take a break and take a look around and get your people back in order as we decide what to be happening with these things? And then we could discuss later.
Yes. Yes, that is what I should do immediately. I should spend the rest of the afternoon inspecting my lands and seeing just how bad things have gotten. Is it your counsel, then, that I do not immediately disband the army? For I am of two minds, that people should perhaps return to their fields immediately, and yet with this army already assembled, maybe that would be a wasted opportunity.
I would say, how many fighting men can you spare? You're going to be dying soon. Famine is about to be taking hold of your people, and that'll be no good for anyone. Your land needs to be healed. I think you have army enough to defend it. Nothing the child's going to be doing swinging a sword. It's going to save it.
I'd say for now, disband all that are needed to start cultivating and farming and taking care of the land once more, and keeping the rest because the region is still in a civil war.
Put your farmers back to their fields. They're not going to be doing anything in the battlefield. Except be
I have
killed.
to agree.
Then I shall take your counsel into accord. And I shall disband the army. They have been given the afternoon off. I think tomorrow morning I shall make the announcement.
I do believe it would be the wise thing to do.
Very well. What of Gundarak Hill? What of the barbarians that have seized the lands to the north? What of Tilverton? It is said that a shadow spell has killed everyone there, and no one has yet investigated the ruins. And what of the Hidden King? Have you any intention of searching for him? Or are you still determined to focus your efforts on Tediamar?
I don't think the Dwarves will be able to head to Tediamar till there's peace in the south.
Well, they will not be threatened by Arabelle anymore.
At the doors tomorrow. You've got Vaughn to deal with too. He's not going to be happy that you just took his war chest. He's been pushing the dwarves hard. That's why they're be revolting. Dark whispers are in everybody's ear.
Perhaps investigating this Count Vaughn might be our next course of action.
We're unwise to the politics. We've been away for a while. We're looking for your guidance. As your mind clears.
Well, you could, if you had such a mind, attempt to make contact with Vaughn directly. He has an estate in Winterhaven, the northernmost peak of the Thunder Peaks, not far from the Moonsea Ride. It is frontier country, and it butts the realm that has been claimed now by the barbarians from the north. I do not know if he can be found there, but that is where you will find his estate.
Then by your authority, we could go under your flag and see if such evil is bewitching him as well. And if so, take similar matters into our own hands.
I will not allow anyone to march under my flag. Such a provocative action could be a spark that causes other nobles to do the same for less savoury reasons. It will not take much for Cormier to descend into civil war, for the pieces to turn against each other. and actions such as mine could be used as justifications by others. Better than that you continue as you have done, incognito.
Then we'd be having your blessing to move incognito, and we have your word you won't be marching against the dwarves as we negotiate such peace.
The dwarves. The dwarves declaring independence, a thorn in my side. But no, I will not be marching Cormyrians on Cormyrians. That is outside of madness. Beyond madness.
Good folk shouldn't be killing good folk, not in these times.
No. That much we can agree on.
Well then.
Well,
My vote is we go talk to Mr. Vaughn and see what it has to be saying, and why he's working with us in Tharum, and why he's building a war chest off of evil merchants.
Yes, I think it's a good idea.
You have the war chest. It's up to you what you want to be doing with it.
well, I do not think that I will require all those weapons any further. If I am disarming my people, then suddenly the arrival of so many weapons does not seem so crucial to my aspirations.
Perhaps they would do your standing army of 2,000 professional soldiers well.
They will not go astray. Of that I can assure you.
Very well then.
Well, so we off to Winterhaven as merchants coming in to sell our goods
Sounds agreeable
as we
to me.
came in here and do some investigating.
Yes. Also, let us deal with this scepter.
We could try destroying it.
Have we the means? I'm not sure what it would take to destroy an artifact.
That's the
like
question.
this. Very possibly.
Yeah. Throw it into some lava. That'll take care of most things.
Well,
Yeah.
we've seen that should this item overtake its wielder, they can be freed by separating the item from them. So with the permission of everyone here, I would like to see whether I can resist its lure. And if I can, I believe it would be safe with me.
Then it is yours. I wish it taken from my side. It would be an endangerment to leave it near such a weak will as my own.
I'll pass my halberd to whoever wants to take it, so I'm unarmed, just in case the worst happens.
One of the guards will grab it from you if no one else does.
Unarmored.
I could take off my full plate, I guess, but it takes some time.
Why do we want to be
And that's-
touching it? Dark magic be dark magic. Put it in a box.
What if
Into the
the box
box.
doesn't need picked up?
Two ways you could be touching it with metal and wood. Put it in a box. We could put it under our protection that way. The same as you'd be holding it. There's no need to test your will against crazy dark magic.
Perhaps, but would put my mind at ease knowing that at least one of us here is capable of touching it and picking it up should it become necessary.
If you think you'd be stronger than the good lady here, I would be saying you're her equal. And you're going to put us all into folly.
Maybe.
To what ends? You're going to be wielding it?
Wielding it? No, of course not.
Then why touch it? We could push it into a box.
Yes, I suppose you make a good point.
You could keep out scrying, yeah.
I'm sure we can put the makings of a lead line box. Then before we go, keep it safe. An artisan could put his magical locks on it. It'll be
Very well then, we shall do that.
dump it in the bottom of Wyverwater Lake to be damned with it.
Possibly.
Artisan would be the only person who knows each password, but yeah, we could do that. Because I think I have to know the password to cast the spell.
Well,
oh, are you
concern
saying
is
with
if it
physical
kept-
keys? Yeah. It can be on any opening or lock. So chests and crates count. Yeah.
My worry is that if it were to be kept in a chest or a crate, then it would be more easily stolen than if it were actually on one of our persons.
But then if someone snags it from you.
That's true.
And even if they do steal the crate, it's going to take them a long time to get it open, if they do at all.
Hmm. True.
A lead-lined box, 50 gold. Yeah, padlocks. I don't know if there are prices for padlocks, but I think they range from 5 to 50 to 500 to 5,000. DC's like 10, 15, 20, 25, you know.
Yeah, perhaps that'll do for now, and Artisan might be able to forge a chest of adamantine, perhaps, if we want to be really secure with it.
Yeah, 100 gold, and you've got a like more secure than your average treasure chest. Put it that way.
Yeah.
All right.
How long does Arcane Lock last?
Until I dispel it.
Right, good to know.
So I guess after death, then I suppose.
Yeah.
You could die and your arcane lock is still functioning. I guess. Anyway, a long time. And you put the Imperceptor in. You put the Imperceptor in its own little coffin.
I shouldn't haven't since I. Yeah.
Fair enough.
And I guess I can share the password because I'll keep it secret from the rest of the party, but share the password to each lock with each respective key holder.
Guess we just add the key to the box then to our inventory, and just assume the password is part of that.
Are we doing fine? Has anybody tried to just break it, smash it to bits? Then we wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, you said it was like a mace, right?
Yeah, that's right. A big heavy scepter.
We could just dump it in a forge and see what happens before we try all this. We ask them where the hottest forge is, and after we put it in a box, and then we take it to a hottest forge, and I think we could try to destroy it there, and then we'd be done.
Well, we know where the hottest forge is, and then I'm going to try to make a hillbilly version of it when we get back to the dwarves again.
Just because it's magic doesn't mean it's not meltable. Doesn't mean that it's can't be destroyed unless it's like the ring of power, and then we'll find out. So would we know? I guess that's a question.
Give it a go, right?
Yeah,
No, won't know until we try.
Giving it a go in our knowledge.
It's worth giving it a go, even if it only takes 2 paragraphs for it to say it. But it doesn't work. It's worth giving it a go, but it doesn't work. So you throw your mace into the hottest forge that is here in Arabelle, which is not that hot because they're not a manufacturing settlement, they're an agricultural settlement, but they do have forges. But it's only made for arrowheads and horseshoes and shit. Whereas if you took it to Tethymar, that's an entirely different kettle of fish. So the Tethymar forges would probably destroy it. These ones, you're probably not surprised to find that they don't. Yeah.
Would my rigged up one probably melt it?
If it's here in Arabelle, no, because you don't have the science to make one good enough. Yeah.
Not here, but when we get back to the dwarves, we had discussed before that I do a marvelous invention to try to do it.
Then yeah, if that's the whole point of the marvelous invention, then yes, because marvelous inventions are meant to be specific. So if you want something that melts magic items, then absolutely, because that's the whole point of what you're trying to do. Whereas if you want something that is good for enchanting, then probably not, because again, those magnificent items are meant to be specific. They do something, it destroys magic items because you wanted to create something that destroys magic items.
Okay.
Yeah. Potential.
So how many dwarves are here in this town? Just as a side
note. I think the dwarves make up half of 1%, and there's in a town of 30,000 people, what's that? 1 in every 10,000 is like 20 dwarves or something, 50 dwarves. So it's a community of a few hundred, probably.
Is there a bar that they hang out in?
No doubt there is. A dwarf bar serves dwarf whiskey and shit.
Before we go, I want to do a rally cry to see if anybody's interested in Tethymar.
You're damn right they are. They're a little bit. Their more immediate concern, though, is that, because half of these dwarves have probably had a staff or a spear or an axe in their hand a couple of hours ago, and they saw you guys up on the stage. They know exactly who you are because they were watching it, because they were drilling. And their main concern is more like, yeah, but I'm a bit more worried that I'm about to march north up to Harndorf and put down a rebellion.
The Queen has put a state of that. This whole land is unsettled. But no, it's not treason to go on an expedition to Tethymar, and that's what we're collecting up at Hondor. are good people that are willing to make the travel.
Well, they're dead set keen. Why, if they hadn't been conscripted into the military, then they'd probably be all for it, because most of the people here, and also, and that includes, most of the people drinking in a dwarf bar aren't dwarves. Most of the people are still humans, but they have dwarven sensibilities in general, dwarf poses, if you will. And these people don't want to get back to the farms. They've been pulled off the farm. They were given a pitchfork or a spear or a bow and taught how to use it, and they liked it. You know, not everybody objects to conscription. Not everybody wants to do what their dad did. And there's a lot of citizens you discover after you come to this dwarf bar whose greatest fear is that they're going to be used to fight Cormyrians, but whose second greatest fear is that they're about to be stood down and sent back to the farms.
Well, all of you that be lusting for a different life, and to be mining the greatest mines of Mithril and Amantine, and see riches you've never seen, and conquer an enemy and live for adventure. I told him to go talk to the guy from the mercenaries that we hired that's creating our army. Go talk to this one, and he'll get you started. Cargamo. The word be anyone, man or dwarf, that wants to march with us to Teliamar to find adventure. If they'd be willing to march with us, they'll be willing to get some of the profits.
That sounds better than military service, you know. And military service was better than working on the farm. You've got their interest in a very serious way.
After we make peace in the south, we'll be heading north to reclaim the land.
That the mood changes when you say that, because the general feeling is that there won't be peace in the south. Like, well, this is just the beginning. The storm hasn't even broken yet. So if we're waiting for peace in the south, then we're waiting for the Hidden King to sit back on his throne. And well, that's a great and grand event, and long may he live, long may he reign. Most of the people here are patriots and loyalists to the Hidden King, despite the fact that he's an infant and that he's absent. But the general mood is that that's not going to happen for a long time. So they were getting excited. They were getting excited about you talking about this grand quest up towards the north. But then when you're like, but first we're just going to have to solve the problems in the south, they're like, oh well, back to the farm it is. Yes,
I'd be telling you this. Yeah, I mean, I'll switch gears and say I'd be telling you this. Winter's coming. We're not going to be leaving before the end of winter. So get your affairs together here. And by the time you rally after winter is done, up with the dwarves, we'll be ready to go.
That's reasonable. That's sensible, even, you know. Gives me time to propose to Darlene, tell her that I truly love her, or gives me time to harvest. And I mean, the pumpkins are overdue. If I don't get out there in a few days, and they're all going to go to waste. So yeah, giving them a couple of months to get ready. 4 months or so, 5 months is probably a very agreeable situation. If you're serious, how do these people know that you're serious? How are you going to put your money where your mouth is?
I go to Artisan and ask for some of the bricks, a brick of each. Of the Amantium and the Mithril.
And the being a dwarven bar, they have metallurgical equipment here as a matter of debate. You know, everyone wants to say who's got the purest silver, And when they examine it, there can be no doubt that this is the real deal.
Now you'll be touching something minted in the mines of Tediamar. There's way more for us to be getting and making there. You've touched history, Blads. You can be a part of the future. It's up to you.
All right, they want to know more. What sort of government are we going to have? Is this going to be a kingdom? Are you going to be the king?
There'll no be kings with the dwarves. We'll be having clans. And there'll be a town above Tediamar, needed for commerce like every dwarven place. But up to yourselves to make your own government. I'm just be setting up the expedition. What we do when we liberate it will be up to the peoples.
Sounds like going from one civil war to the next.
You know what the dwarves be doing when we make clans and we get going? We need a whole infrastructure. We need a town to be developed. I'm not a wise man in these words. I'm just a man of war. But it's prosperity and adventure you seeking. You'll be having it. And as you can see, you'll be having the riches.
And what of the rest of us? The humans ask. Will we be trading a human king for a dwarven one? What's our place in your
Everyone
dream?
needs a town above it. It's up to humans' affairs to be managing what's above. The dwarves and the clans will be managing below. It's like any rich places, the towns above. Look at Mithril Hall. It's a human town above.
But it'll be on the edge of a desert. How can a town on the edge of the desert ever survive?
You'll be prospering with the richest mining this land has ever seen. You don't think this would be a hub of trade? And anyone that's got an eye for business or knows how to work wouldn't be of value.
We're mountaineers. We're strong people. We're frontier folk. We can make a go of it.
Think if the dwarves be not being their own merchants, we get it out good and we smith it, but then we trade it. The whole commerce of trade needs to be handled by folk up top. The whole importing of the goods needs to be set up. Just think about it. After the mines be reopened, what kind of commerce? It could be one of the greatest trading cities in the land. And you guys share.
And we wouldn't have to be restricted to selling to Cormier and Sembia, or even the Moonsea. We could ship them across Anarok all the way to the Sword Coast, the biggest markets in the world, Waterdeep and beyond. But there's Zentarum. They control that road. They control that pass. They control Dagger Falls, too.
We didn't say it wouldn't be full of adventure. We have to take the mines, and then we'll figure it out.
Wait, they said they control Dagger Falls?
Aye, the Zentarum control Dagger Falls across the mountains. No, they don't. They liberated it a couple of years ago. Oh, did they? Oh, I always thought the Zentarum controlled Dagger Falls. Well, they did, but that was a few years ago. It's gone back to its own. It's old self now. Oh, learn something new every day.
Yeah. And the Sandport's the only reason they're holding that section of that road.
Zentarum are a bunch of merchants. They can't be that scary.
Yeah.
This is what I pledge to you. Everybody that comes and helps us will be getting a piece of the loot. And everyone will have the prosperity. I'm not a governor, but I know how to reclaim lands. And I see it's worth reclaiming, and we've done it once, and we could do it again.
All right. There's some people on board. You know, if they, They're concerned that they're about to be stood down. They're looking for some action and an adventure. Most of them are young adults, and most of them are male. And these are people who want to see the world and want to make something of themselves and set themselves up for the future. So you've got a really eager, really willing audience, and the potential recruits are enormous just because of the circumstance. Like everybody who is everybody is in Arabelle right now, just due to the edict of the of either the Queen or of the Scepter, of the Lady Lord, of the Scepter, depending on your point of view. So yeah, your little aspiration to go down the pub and see if you can poke around and see if there's anyone interested has yielded results beyond what you could have thought they would. You ran out of paper. You ran out of ink. It's no worries. And right, I can tell my mum and dad. Yeah, right. Yeah, this is and mum can be
getting started fee.
Sorry, what was that?
Would be a minimum getting started. I think that's brilliant, Flightless. Like we can give them a minimum. Here, get yourself geared up and meet you there in 6 months fee. What would that be?
Here are your standard wages. So that's probably not what you're after, but that'll tell you what people get paid in the Dales. They get paid more in Cormier, by the way. Cormier is richer, and people are more in demand. But up in the Dales, that's the standard pay. It's not much.
So we would give them.
You're probably going to want to pay more.
Whatever it would be to get started. What do you think, Flightless? This is not be my brain.
10 gold pieces. 10 gold pieces each will, give them enough to buy a spear and a shield, but probably can't afford leather armor, right?
Whatever it takes to get out to the dwarves.
50 gold each. That's a lot. If there's 200 of them.
How many do we have?
And it's a hell of a lot if there's more.
They're not working for us until 6 months from now, but we can get started money.
And what's that? 2.5, yeah.
Like if we made a decree, sign your name to the company letter, and we'll pay you this now. And to get
proper
yourself,
legal document, obviously.
Right, but I mean, like if we did something like that, and we wanted to say, "Hey, you sign now. We'll meet you there in 6 months in the spring to start this." What would be, since it's just kidding them up, and they're going to do their own affairs for the next few months before they head off. What would be a reason? I mean, I don't know.
I would say 50 gold pieces. I know that's a lot of money, but with 50 gold pieces, then you're going to have a well-equipped group that, they can afford leather armor, they can afford a shield, they can afford a battle axe as well as a spear. So they're not decked out as well as a first-level character, but they've got more than a guard does, I guess. Maybe, not really. Cool. It probably will, but let's ignore that for now. But you're still going to need things like a bedroll and a water skin, and all of this sort of stuff can be covered with maybe an explorer's pack. So I think they're worth either 10 or 15 gold. So yeah, 50 gold I think would equip them pretty well. Yeah, but you could knock it down to 20 gold if you just want them to have nothing but a spear and shield.
I leave that all up to Flightless. He's in charge of the money.
Sure. All right. Well, I
200
guess
of
you're going to want
them.
to know numbers then. In that case, we'll skip forward, and we can always skip back again in a little bit of a montage that goes both directions in time. But she does disband the army the next morning, as she said that she was going to do. She keeps the professional force of 2,000. Signs on a bunch of people who want to, but she can't sign on everyone who wants to, because there is a lot of people who don't want to go back to the farms. And thus, this is great for us, because if we hadn't have put out our spiel, there would already be hundreds of people available for us to crack. But because of the spiel, because of us selling ourselves and coming up with this package, you mean they're going to give us money to just sit around in the winter and I don't actually have to do any work until next year? Sign me up. 2,000 people, 2,000 green levies, and as many as 200 professional or semi-professional militia as well that could potentially join you. An enormous number. The population of Arabelle, of course, around about 30,000 people. So somewhere between 5 and 10% of the population are willing to join your expedition.
I don't know what we can afford. Flightless, this is all up to you.
Well, 50
The
gold
men-at-arms
pieces,
have their own
2,000.
equipment, but still, anyway. Yeah, keep going, sorry.
Like 50 gold pieces each for 2,000 people is 100,000 gold.
It's a lot.
Do we have that much left after our spending spree?
$40. What could be part? I gave him 40, and so then I spent. Well, I mean, I gave him 40 each. That's the bars. That's what he wanted. So we did the math, and that was what the.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
Then that contract can be just sending them up there, and they'll get their what they need there.
Is there anything we can give him now, though, to get him through, get him started, get a kitted, like basic kit material? Because I'm sure the money. I have 20 left. 20 of the.
Well, if we did like
No, yeah.
10k, if we did the 10 gold pieces each instead of 50, that'd be 20,000.
Yeah,
We
and
only
we can
have
distribute the weapons that was confiscated by from the Zentarum. The Lady Lord will give them back to you as a sign of her penance. So I think there was 500 or so, which equips a quarter of them. Yeah, buy them an explorer's pack. Yeah. Give them the leather and the shield and the. Yep. Okay. That's done. All right. So that's really good, and these forces don't serve us yet, but they will serve us. So we might as well record them. There's a place to put this. I'll just try to find out where it is. Our notes, maybe. No. Right. That's where it is. Okay. Cool. So it's in heroes, treasure, party wealth. Servants and mercenaries is near party worth. So if you want to, you can fill it out here. But you certainly don't have to. Like here is just fine as well. And if because let's make this official so that it's recorded and we won't have to, won't be ambiguous in the future. 2,000 green crusaders. I guess that makes them sound better than they are. I guess they're green militia. They have the stats of a guard, but you have to give them equipment. Their equipment is going to be explorer's pack. We'll just call it a hand weapon. Could be an axe or a short sword or something. And I think leather armor and a shield. That's what they get, right? That's kind of what we
Yeah.
just worked out. Yeah, cool. Very good. We have 200. What are they called? Men at arms. They are basically thugs or scouts, depending on what you would prefer them to be. You know, you could have 100 scouts and 100 thugs, or 200 thugs and 0 scouts, whatever. You can work out the distribution. And they have the same equipment, but they probably have extra that they've brought along. Since they're already set up as warriors, they might already have their own suit of chainmail or something. Probably not, but maybe some of them do. Maybe one of them has a longbow, again, depending on the sort of troops that we need. Okay, cool. So you can record that if you want. The standard wage that they would get would be 12 gold a month for the lesser ones and 60 gold a month for the better. So you might want to record that as well, since 12 GP times 2,000 is pretty significant. And was it 60 GP for the other ones? Yeah, 60 GP times 200 is not a small number either. That'll be the
That
monthly
doesn't start until we
costs.
start the march to Teddimer in spring.
Exactly right. Yeah, that's right. They're part of the deal is they've got to give them. They've got to look after themselves until called upon.
Raleigh.
Another thing I'd like to see is if the Lord would like to split some of that gold that we semi-helped requisition from the Zentarum, especially for kind of helping to bring her out of her stupor.
How much was the loot in total?
I do not know. I think what you had described was just that the bottom of each cart was filled with gold and metal bars.
It was 100,000.
Right.
Oh, 100,000?
Yeah, it was for supplying the army and feeding the army and arming the army.
All right, that's an incredible influx of material. She will, if it's 100,000, she will reserve 2 bars to pay for these guys for their first 2 months. So record all of that information about how much they cost, but you can consider their first 2 months of wages when they finally start, which isn't until we need them, to be paid for.
Okay.
Good deal.
Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Also,
that was productive.
Yeah. Good use of our time.
Also, I'd be willing to conduct a ceremony with Morwen in the sense of restored, like, for absolution. Because as a paladin,
It's a start.
she's strayed from the path, and as a paladin myself, should be able to offer her the opportunity to atone.
To atone, she'll need to go on a quest. And the only quest that she can think of suitable is the discovery of the Hidden King. Good. And she accepts that ceremony. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
She appreciates that, and she takes the oils and breathes in the incense and everything. But atonement generally requires a quest too. And as
Yeah, her quest is to find the Hidden King, apparently.
yeah, that's the only thing that she can think of that would be fitting, extreme enough to earn her forgiveness. Huh.
You just always seem to roll really low. Also, seeing this as a moment of silence. While I was away, I had a chance to think and came back. Probably a good idea to share rather than keep it to myself. And there's earlier when I wanted to touch the scepter and see whether I could resist its lure and whatnot. Out of character, that is something that I did want to do. Thought it would be a cool, sort of like a dramatic moment if I was able to resist it. And the idea of keeping a cursed object safe by being the only one able to resist its influence is a pretty neat idea. But you did make a good point.
Excellent.
I decided to acquiesce.
All right, so you're not going to touch it?
Yeah.
You'd be kind of rubbing
Or
it.
attune to it?
If you can
What's that?
resist it, you're rubbing it in the lady's face that you're more powerful than she is. That might be not a politically good thing.
No.
And then she'd lose a lot of face. Not that she hasn't lost enough already.
Good. Mm. Yeah, we guess we'll find out. Guess we'll find out.
Can I
All
send a
right.
runner?
Well,
I mean, I just want to send a runner just in case we didn't get back to the dwarves that this is coming to our mercenary lead so that he expects them.
absolutely.
So we just find someone that can make a trip up there. I'm sure there's merchant carts, or we can go back to that lady from the caravan company and ask her to
Yeah,
get our message.
absolutely. It's not a problem at all. Although there's also nothing stopping you from doing it yourselves, and that's what brings me to what I was going to say next. Is the chapter is over. You've solved the problems in Arabelle, inadvertently in some way, but directly in others. There's this military force which is disbanding, which we can tap into and take advantage of. And the Hidden King's still hidden. There hasn't been any change in that, though you do hear of chaos down in the capital. Sounds like the capital has got a lot worse than we do. The insurgency is running rife in the very heart of Cormier, even more than it is up here in the regions, apparently. But the cards are asked for us to deal, so we can take as much time as we want off, including several months before. And the next scene that we could have could be us marching north, or we could do something else entirely.
Do we want to go? Is it Winterhaven? She said was where Vaughn might be.
There is lands, yeah.
Well, I think my mind would be if we could make peace around all of the areas around the dwarfs, like Vaughn, and then see what happened here, investigate perhaps, and then we would have this whole area kind of nullified, but that would be up to you guys. I don't really care. We go back up to. We could collect his head. That's up to Eleanor, I guess. Well, maybe it would stabilize it, don't you think? I mean, if we took out a usurper of the crown, then you could get word back that he was a usurper. Like, she sanctioned it to go figure out what's his mind. Like, you got a major usurper up here up to no good, right next to the dwarves. So then, why would we? That's up to you. That would be my recommendation as we go back up here till it's coming and then go. What's that? Well then that's where we can go, and Eleanor could be. Yeah, like why don't we go figure out what's happening? Because we're just speculating. So we want to pass
Probably.
Or do we want to go right up? But you guys talk. Moog's pretty happy.
We could probably speak to Lady Morwen and see what the next line of succession for Winterhaven would be. So that if we do have to remove him from that seat by force and probably take his life, we can install the next in line before we leave there. So that power vacuum that you're talking about doesn't come to pass.
He has none. He's unmarried. So it would go to like a cousin of sorts. You could probably trace it, but
But didn't you say that the lady? It was really the lady's realm, and he's just an underlord to her.
It's complex. It's complicated. So she is the Lord of Arabelle, and all lands up to the Hulac Forest are hers, and the Hulac Forest is kind of nobody's, or maybe the Crown's. Who knows? Winterhaven is basically outside of her jurisdiction, and the reason for that is because Cormier has shrunk very recently. Arabelle was not the northernmost town until recently. Tilverton was. And Tilverton has been utterly destroyed, and now, so these lands around Tilverton are, for whether they want to be or not, are independent, because there's no one collecting taxes, there's no one sending up Cormerian troops. It's a no man's land. That's not helped by the fact that there's plague somewhere to the north along the Moonsea Ride that people have heard about. And it's really not helped by the double whammy of Gloriana, which was an attempt by Cormier to settle this northern region that failed after a very short attempt. And so the fall of Gloriana, the destruction of Tilverton, the arrival of the spell plague, the arrival of these barbarians, all of this means that this land up here is basically autonomous, and that's where Vaughn's area is. And so she doesn't have jurisdiction over that region, but she is a higher ranking noble, and so she has the legal right to conquer that in the name of the king. But which king? It's a mess. Yeah.
Me to a
Not very stable at all.
The rest of the south.
Say that again, sorry?
If the north stabilizes. So if we went into Winterhaven, if we had to change leadership, she could put in someone under her recommendation to take over a trusted advisor from
Lady Eleanor.
Yes.
Is there a better choice?
Well, if we were going to take downtime, we could, if we dealt with him, I could take command of that area for the couple of months until somebody's able to take my position.
I think that's awesome. Roll for initiative. Let's go.
Then we should probably do that with the army, right? Like a party walking in and overthrowing a government is only going to last until we go to the next town, and then there'll logically be revolt again, right? But we do have an army. We've got an army of a few thousand, and that's not small. Now, if following that logic, however, there is a pretty sizable army as well up here along the Moonsea Ride. The barbarians and the Sembians combined, their forces equal about 1,000, and they're in a good spot along a major trade route on a hill, and they're led by a king whose legend is beginning to grow as he searches for the broken heart of Talos. So, not a bad idea, I guess, going in and overthrowing Winterhaven and being installed semi-legitimately by the Lady Lord. But you will immediately come into contention with an army that's half your size but a hell of a lot more experienced, just to your north.
We could go back to the dwarves and ask them what they want to do, because it is part of the reclaiming of Tethymar. But that's my only suggestion. You guys, I don't care.
Sure.
Yeah, the barbarians are a problem. I suppose it's a question of, do we go up here to hit the barbarians first and then come down to get Winterhaven, or the other way around?
I'm down for stabilizing the north.
But the whole
It depends on what you mean by something we did. What is it that we're doing? Are we assassins? Are we conquerors? Are we spies? Is this an espionage reconnaissance thing? Potentially. And if you march an army through the Hulac forest, it could be hit by dragons along the way. This is a dangerous forest. And if we go to Tilverton Scar, we will discover an entire town of 10,000 people who were wiped out in a single night, and nobody's been there yet. As far as we're aware, not a single adventuring party has gone inside, which is kind of illogical, but it has only been a few months, and there's plenty of other work for adventurers that doesn't involve going into cities that were annihilated in a single night. Yeah. Just secessionist territory. Yeah, we start the war. Yeah, and that's what she was saying about her own actions too. Because while that action is legitimate legally, sort of, it kind of needs the king's decree, but kind of doesn't anyway. So it's semi-legitimate action. It could lead to other people taking semi-legitimate actions as well. Sure. He was in Gloriana anyway. Yeah, it's because he doesn't serve directly under Morwen. Morwen's territory the Lady Lord's territories don't extend. That's right. She can, but she does have a casus belli. She does have the legal right to invade his lands. In the same way as let's say you're the Duke of York, right? And you're not happy with the king, but the king can't do anything about it because you're a fucking duke and you're pretty powerful. And some local baron, not in your lands but in neighbouring lands, is pissing you off. You have some legal right to go in and invade his lands and add them to your own, just because you're a duke and he's a baron. But the king can then get upset about that and take away your duchy if he has that level of power. But again, we don't have a king in this situation, so it just makes it murkier. It doesn't make it clearer at all. Not really. No, he's not the Jew a part of her duchy because he's part of Gloriana, and Gloriana has collapsed. right?
Well,
There's nothing stopping him from legally declaring independence.
no.
Maybe I'm not my opinion, but yeah.
Although
He's
I
the
have,
one putting the
alternative
tax screws
idea.
on the dwarves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he is making a claim on Harndorf, Halfhap, which is the same place, and that's kind of legitimate, kind of, because the Duke of Gloriana should be doing it, but there is no Duke of Gloriana, right? Or Tilverton should be doing it, but there is no Tilverton. So does that mean that he has a legitimate right to do it? Well, kind of, as the representative of Cormier, kind of. Absolutely, noblesse oblige is Cormier. Cormier writes them into law. Like they are more chivalrous than England ever was.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
well, that leads into kind of what I was going to suggest, which is that we go there, investigate, find the evidence of his corruption and excessive taxation and so on, and rather than removing him from power in the name of the Lady of Arabelle or in the name of the crown or anything like that, yeah, I could do it in the name of my god instead.
Very.
The god of nobility. If I genuinely believed him to be corrupt and unworthy of his title, then perhaps I could invoke some divine authority there and strip him of it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not good at history, but I'll try.
Divine authority to do what? Sorry, Eleanor?
That if we were to go there, investigate, and see that he is a tyrant and unworthy of his title, that I, as an agent of
Right.
Seymour, would be able to strip him of his title.
Yeah, okay, yeah. As an agent of Seamorph. Even that's murky. The short answer is yes, you do have that power. The longer answer is it should come from the church, from the temple, and not from some Rome lone paladin wandering the land. But to counter that again is like a kind of Joan of Arc clause, right? Where who has more legitimacy than the holy representative of the gods crusading out there? You know, yeah.
Mhm. Is Temple Akron the Temple of Theomorph?
I don't know.
Right, no. No, Temple of Seamorph is a pretty small thing, and it would be based in the capital city.
I was thinking we could
Alternatively,
actually go to the
Yeah.
temple, but I was
Yeah, I was going to say, alternatively, if we wanted to leave that till a little bit later, we could check out Tilverton. It might have some links to the shadowy figure we saw and the chaos that's infesting Cormier.
That sounds fun.
That sounds fun. Agreed. Second
All right,
that.
Tilverton it is then. We'll deal with Winter Haven later.
We can stop at Half and
Alright.
tell them stock up, and then tell them everything's coming, and then go to Tilverton.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, is our business in Arabelle concluded then?
I believe so. We still have our goods that we haven't
Um,
sold, haven't we? Are we planning on selling those, or are we going to keep holding on to them?
There was somewhere else we were going that we were planning on selling them.
At Half Hat?
Yeah.
All right then.
We're raising an army there. We should supply the area.
And when we do take downtime, Artisan wants to start crafting and selling his craftsmanship for income. For the simple fact that we are spending more than we're getting now.
Yeah, I was
Sure.
gonna
Yeah, you
say,
need. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was
I agree. Or we can find hoards of riches and from any BBEG that we might find. Adventuring. Well, we have 6 months, right? We have till spring.
all right. Well, let's head up to Tilverton then for now, and then we'll decide what to do after that.
Well, half first, right?
Yeah, it's on the way. Yeah.
Mm.
One thing I wanted to also ensure, we have a charter as an adventuring party. Is that only in the Dales or also in Cormyr? Because if it's not in Cormyr, I'd want to get a charter here, and I think Lady Morwen can give that to us.
It's not in Cormyr, and a Cormyrian one has greater weight because they invented the concept of charters. So another 25 gold pieces, and you can just get the information basically copied across if you want.
Yeah,
No
because
worries.
now we have permission to pillage tombs and fight fights.
Yeah, and you're doing it in the name of the Hidden King, in a technical sense.
Alrighty.
Glad I thought of that before it got us in trouble later.
It's a good choice, yeah.
If we're going to spend 10 days with the dwarves, I want to try making. I guess priority right now is just to destroy that thing.
Destroy
Yeah,
that
we
thing.
can spend a 10 day or two in there. I have no issues.
All right. Yeah, you want to try and make your marvelous invention to destroy it. Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, how long does it take to make?
10 days.
10 days. I think we can spare that time. It should be all right.
And if anyone needs anything, I can work on 2 things at once.
Go to half then. Should we go there and then we can start doing that stuff?
Yeah.
Sure. The journey to Half Hap is gentle enough. You're travelling through friendly lands in which you guys are quite famous by now. And so when you arrive back in Harndorf, also called Half Hap, you are well received, although they are a little nervous at first. But they're glad to see it's you and not an army.
I think step 1 would be to go to the leaders of the thing, I guess Moog's family, and let them know that Arabelle will not be taking action against us. Or against them.
All right. They want to know how that came about.
She was under a bloody curse. The staff and a witch whispering in the lady's ear. And we broke the curse. And I go into the gland, talking about how Lady Eleanor slayed the witch with one strike. And as soon as the staff left her hands, the spell was broken and she came to her mind again. And she says she will not be attacking. And you have a stay of peace with the lady. She has no interests, and she stood down her army.
So she accepted our independence then?
Not so much as that as saying it's a stay of peace to be negotiated later. She won't be sending her troops up here to be quelling any independence flags to be raising.
It's a good outcome. It just gives us more time to strengthen our position.
And we have 2,200 soldiers coming here in the spring to help with whatever we need to be doing to stabilize the lands or be heading off to Tilverton.
That is grand news indeed. They're
It's a mix of dwarves and humans, so don't be frightened. Go to arms as soon as you see it coming. They'll be coming in bits and pieces. Those that can finally make it.
we won't have the food to survive them all. He assures you.
We set up provisions and monies to be building an army with the mercenaries. We'll be taking them under their charter.
Well, they're clearly quite delighted. And when I say they, I mean the ruling council. Whether it's a private discussion with your relatives or it's open, they all have a fairly similar reaction. And the outcome is really as good as they could hope. It would have been great if they'd accepted independence, but they knew that was never really going to happen. But maybe it'll force the issue in the future, and as long as there's no retaliation, that's great. But if we do have genuine prospects of turning up to Tethymar, and it looks like the plan is well and truly in motion, and you guys are sponsoring it, then this could be the dawn of a new golden age.
When I say to the clan leader, the army, if we would be going to Tilverton to be just in a couple 10 days from now to investigate what be happening there. If we don't come back, it's your army to lead, and the dwarves' future is in your hand.
Yeah, the thought of going to Tilverton is not one that they savour. They say it's wrong, though, that when people have said that no adventuring parties have gone in there, it's just that none have come back out again.
Why? Right now, we deem that as the biggest danger to Half-Hop. We don't want what happened in Tilverton to happen to Half-Hop, Handor.
They can agree with that. Yeah, well, that's I guess that's settled then. Well, all's well that ends well for these people. They have Sembian troops of their own, as we know, some Sembian supplements. There's a red wizard here, again, as we already know. But in the short term, their desire for independence has not been rebuffed. In the long term, they've got real prospects at rebuilding something great and grand. It's a good day for Hundorf, and they fly their flag of independence high. Yeah.
We'll tell him to work it into his plans. I'm sure he'll figure it out.
That's right. He's still going to try to import elites from elite dwarves from across the desert.
We got the hammers coming. Any of those, they've heard the calling. And ask my uncle about Winterhaven and Vaughn. I'd be thinking Vaughn is your only enemy here. What say ye?
What should we do about it?
I don't know. Think on it. It's not for us to say. You're in charge of this town and the prosperity of the people here. We can decide after we get back from Tilverton as you bring it to the council. Knowing that you'd be collecting an army, you'd be pretty well to defend yourself.
And we're better on the defence too. Not sure how we'd go, how we'd fare, tromping around in someone else's lands. The Dirge wouldn't like it for one thing.
My brain isn't for politics. I give my last 20 of the stuff to the guy running the army. Just
Yeah.
20 of each. So that's 60 total given.
60 what?
Isn't it 60? I give him 40 each with my bars.
You mean? Yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about, bars. You just say it so casually, like it's a vast amount of money. Vast amount of money. All right, yeah. So you give him more, and
To determine whatever need to be happening while we're gone. I'm an optimist. I think
it's daunting.
we're adventuring.
Yeah.
Or I'd be dying. And what good is it there anyway?
Aye, best that you're not carrying it when you fall to some orc's arrow.
Or to whoever cursed magic took Tilverton.
Aye. Are you taking any precautions against it? Do you know what you're up against?
Nope.
Perhaps we could see the Thane wizard. They might know something about it.
Aye, not a bad thought, actually. I don't think we've done any investigations at all, or heard any rumors. Black energy, purplish black.
Does he know of anything?
The wizard?
No, the guy or the runner.
Oh no, no, doesn't know a thing. Knows well enough to stay away from it.
Not be hearing any rumors. What happens?
I hear rumors aplenty that people go in there and they don't come out. One thing's for certain, that the place is going to be absolutely jam-packed with wealth. I mean, it's an entire town, ain't it? You just have to go through people's purses to make yourself rich. 10,000 purses, think of that. Aye, but that's not the real treasure. You see, at the heart of it, up in the Eye Tower Castle, you see, that's where the war wizards had their own academy. Aye, they had an academy, they did. There it is, up in the bell tower, up in the centre of town. And their academy, it was, how you say it, a little bit, commercial. They sold things, they did. Wands and potions and scrolls, and, well, I'll be a goblin if they didn't have some kind of special vault for all the expensive stuff. Your staves and your magic axes and so on.
Hmm. Wouldn't surprise me if that academy had something to do with what happened there.
Oh, I wouldn't put it past them as well. But you've got to ask yourself why. People are always going on, the war wizards this, the war wizards that, but it's not like they're that much of a coordinated thing, really. And wizards are individuals. And individuals make thoughts for themselves. Wizards are like. Might only be that half of the wizards are seditionists. But maybe that was the problem. They were trying to wipe each other out, and there was a catastrophe. Just speculating here.
Well, we need to be, for the safety of those in Handorf, we need to figure it out so it doesn't be repeating.
Well, look, I can tell you this. It happened overnight. That much I can be sure. She was a thriving town, she was. Quite beautiful, really, in her own way. Very prosperous. A trade centre, it was. Vibrant. The markets were always overflowing. Had a lot more life than down Arabelle way. Arabelle's kind of boring, you know, just a big country town. Well, Tilverton's less than half the size in population, but it always felt more alive. Temples it had, and shrines, and different places to get a drink. It was quite interesting, it was, but it fell overnight. Whatever happened to it, it was there one day, and there were caravans coming to and from there, and then the next day, it just weren't. It's like people woke up one morning and there was this great bubble hanging over it. Aye. People heard strange things in the night, they did. Flashes of dark energy and such. But, everyone knew well enough to stay away, and if they didn't, I think they got caught up in it. Now it's said to be contained within a bubble, aye? And it's said that you walk in there and you can see on the other side. You can wave at your companion if you don't go in, and mind that you don't, because they don't come out again. So it don't kill you instantly like. It's not like some great shield of disintegration or something. But the way I hear it, people, they feel strange, sick, like a kind of sense of foreboding, a rot. Aye, that's it, a rot.
So there'd be some kind of curse as soon as you enter it.
Aye, that's what I'm thinking. It's like it takes your life force or something.
Perhaps we'll seek the aid of this wizard. If it's an arcane matter, they'd likely know more.
And I'm sure we might be providing some support of our adventure if we get him a cut of the loot. Then we maybe get in the financing, maybe giving us some magic that can help from curses.
Very possibly.
All right, and so you go to the Thayan Cafe and you grab a coffee. What do you have for me? The Red Wizard asked. Was it a woman or a man?
It was a woman.
All right, it'd be Raquel of the Frost and Flame then. A tattooed head and high neck red. Yep. All right, so she's a lot more reasonable than the average Red Wizard. So how do you pose your question?
We'd be going to Tilverton. We hear that if we be surviving and figure out what happened, that there might be quite the bounty to be having. However, we hear it's cursed, and we don't have the magic to be protecting us. I wonder if we could do some kind of dealing with your organization, be sponsoring us for a cut of the profits, and giving us something that might help us get through.
I do not believe that the state of Thay would be interested in sponsoring an expedition unless they were strictly in charge and in leadership. But as a personal enterprise, I may consider sponsoring your expedition myself. Your objectives as simple as seeking information? Is it a reconnaissance mission?
I guess we'd be going in. We hear as soon as you go in, you be cursed, and you start dying.
Yes.
So we might not get too far without any kind of support.
Yes. I agree. So perhaps we should make a deal, for it would be remiss of me to share with you my research if it was not, if we did not already have our stipulations processed.
Why? Let's be. What's your deal? What's what's your terms?
The amount of treasures that you could recover in there could be unlimited. Perhaps we could make the agreement that all mundane treasures are yours and all magical treasures are mine.
Think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be more apt to say that we each get one and she gets the rest.
I'm
What's
far more
a-
curious about the magical treasures than the mundane treasures.
If we all get one pick for ourselves, and you'd be getting the spoils.
She agrees to this proposition. She'd much rather get the excess, give you guys all one object each, and she gets everything except for 6 objects.
But I'd not be caring about +1 weapons. Right. But if we can find something fantastic that
If there's like 100 +1 weapons and one Vorpal sword, then you can take the Vorpal sword and give her the +1 weapons.
yeah, and plus we get to loot whatever the bounty is in the town. It's
All right. That's not such a a deal in her favor, but it's a good one. You had a comment, sorry? Sure.
And for fun.
Yes.
True.
Yeah.
My character sure does.
You don't know me.
I'd be saying we need to be making it in their best interest we come out of there. And not just be another science experiment.
Yeah.
So
And
I think it'd be win-win.
The thing is, you can go ahead.
Whatever a win-win is here, I'd say we make it.
She will
I think
agree. She agrees to that prospect, but with a stipulation, with a clause. She wants you to leave behind some collateral. It's the information that she gives, once it's given, is open to exploitation. You could betray her, or you could fail. There are other options, but those ones cover most of it. And if you either betray her or fail, then her investment in you is not worth a lot. She can always hunt you down, but that's resources she doesn't want to expend either. And it's embarrassing. She won't have the might of Fate to back her up. She's just doing it personally as an investor. So, she will agree to your prospect, but that you can take one magic item each. The mundane treasures, she is as disinterested in as you are. Probably more disinterested. It'd be great to find 100,000 gold pieces, but that's not what she's interested in Tilverton for. So, she will let you take one magic item each. She will get the surplus beyond that, whether there's a single extra potion or an extra 100 +1 swords. She gets the surplus. But before you go on your mission, and indeed before she gives you her information, she wants you to give up something of value. A minor magic item. Not something like a potion, but a lesser sword or a really powerful sword. Sorry?
Ara made me the first hand.
Yep. Perfect. That's perfect. That's great collateral. Anyone else have collateral?
I'd give as much as you know, this is probably my prized possession. My +3 all-purpose tool.
Yeah, she'll take a +3 all-purpose tool, absolutely.
Do we have any sense of what she's going to tell us? She's.
No. No to both questions. I don't think she'll take the hat, and I don't think we have a sense of what she's going to tell us.
She's driving a pretty rich bargain for so far. We have no idea what she's actually going to give us.
Well, how about I tell them in the side of the party? What about the box? We can leave it at that. That's worth.
But if he'll send it to someone, yeah. But if she sells it to someone, and she's probably a pretty powerful mage, if she does something with it, we're fucked, or that region that it belongs to is fucked.
There could be endless wealth for her in there, so that I think maybe the box might be best safekeeping with her anyway.
There's no way I'd let anybody else have it.
Okay, there you go.
After what I've seen it do.
Yeah, if she breaks the magic seals and the locks and opens it up.
But we'll be coming back delivering lots of stuff, so.
Yeah, we don't know if we can 100% trust her, though, you know.
Yes.
And something that, from what it did to Lady Morwen, we know that it's society breaking. So we definitely don't want to leave it with someone that we can't trust with our lives.
You'd accept that, absolutely.
I'm looking among my stuff. I'm not sure what I have. But I'm not.
Can you use any martial weapon? Derek, what kinds of weapons can you use? I have a +1 short sword that I could give you for the mission.
Alright, well she's satisfied with what we've given anyway. That's quite a haul. Several thousand gold pieces worth of collateral is a fair indicator that either you're not going to betray her, and if you do fail, then she's cleaned up with a couple of thousand gold pieces worth of items.
Well. There's going to be lots of holding. We need some bags of holding from you so we can fit the loot in there.
Very good. She'll manufacture you those, but I don't remember what the sane magic item price of them was.
Well, they'd be for her loot, so we'll be giving them back to you.
Or yeah, good point. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. That's in that case, she'll want more collateral, but you make a good point.
I think my item that I gave was 10 to 20,000.
Was it? All right. What did you give? The
my
+3 thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah, probably 8,000, but yeah, even so, that's pretty expensive. Yeah, all right. She'll give you 2 bags of holding. Even if she sees it as a flat trade, it's still good value. So, all right. All right. Well, this is what she has surmised. As we know, Tilverton died in a single night. It was prosperous before then. The cutoff for the destruction seems to have been quite definite. Like everything inside was harmed, and most of the things outside were not, save for maybe a mile radius outside of the circumference. So our information isn't great, but you can. But once I've told you something, ask for any sort of clarification or extra knowledge, and we'll see what you can pull out of it. But this is what she has surmised. It came at dusk, and by dawn the city was dead. So something has occurred during the dark night hours at the end of the Year of Wild Magic, which was last year, so relatively recently. Her experiments indicate that it is necrotic energy that is within there, what she would deem shadow energy. This necrotic energy is very slow acting. It won't disintegrate you the way like a cantrip would. If you hit someone with a cantrip, D10 damage, you can kill a peasant instantly. It doesn't work like that. It's slower. It would kill a person, but probably over the course of either 10 minutes or an hour. She's been there when adventurers have gone in and explored it. She's watched them like a scientist watching lab rats go through a maze. And these people go in and they don't die immediately, but they do get affected immediately. And then they start to deteriorate relatively quickly. Their bones rot and so on, and once they're in, they can't get out. It's like a wall that prevents it. It's like a one-way thing. In fact, once they go in, it doesn't even seem like they're aware of what's going on the outside, though the people on the outside are aware of them. So you can look through, but as far as she could tell, people who are on the other side couldn't look through to her. What's more, they couldn't be reached with spells that only affect the single plane. I think sending doesn't work on other planes, I'm pretty sure. Well, I might be wrong with that. But anyway, it seemed that they were that some kind of magical barrier was blocking spells that should be working, even though you can see your target just 100 feet away. Spells weren't working to be able to affect them, like the wall of shadow was blocking them. It also seemed to be unfathomable. A mythal is a bubble of magic that the elves and other highly powerful civilizations have created to protect their cities in times long past. This looks like a mythal, but made out of shadow rather than made out of the pure magic of the weave. Raquel, the Red Wizard, didn't seem to be able to understand how this magic was working, because there was no evidence that it was connected to the weave at all, and therefore shouldn't exist, because magic can only exist with the weave. It was like some kind of shadow weave was fueling this dome, and that shadow weave was feeding on the energy of whatever went in there and slowly eating away at it. And the buildings their paint has peeled and fainted. They've begun to crumble a little bit. Material such as armor and clothing and carts and wagons and wheels, they all seem to be crumbling at a very fast rate. One day inside the town is the equivalent of maybe 100 days outside it. And so a stone building is going to last for a very long time, but a wooden table might have broken down already by the time we get there, because this happened a couple of months ago. So any organic material that was in there is likely crumbled to pieces. More durable stuff like houses and timbers and stuff are probably rotting, and even the stone is likely losing some of its structural integrity. It's like a dome of entropy.
Well, if we're to go in there, we're going to need to find some sort of way to get back out again.
Seems to be a one-way trip.
What can you give us to extend our life when we're in there? Make us last as long? And if we come out, we'll pay fair value for it.
I'd sell you rings of necrotic resistance for 2,000 gold each.
Can that be on like way away, or whatever, or what should we call it? Like repaying that when we get out?
It's not my property. I would have to. It would be a purchase from the Red Wizards of Thay. And that price might be different if you've got the same magic items prices. It could be different.
Ring of necrotic.
Ring of Protection, necrotic. I think that's what they're called, right?
I think it's Ring of Resistance.
That's it. Ring of Resistance from necrotic.
You already have our stuff. You can use it to pay for it.
This is a private transaction, she explains. We have already made our deal. I've already provided you the information. If you wish to deal with Thay, then you can.
Do we have the 12,000 to pay for it?
12,000. It might be more than that. I'm checking.
She said 2,000 each, right?
Yeah, that's what I quoted. Although the price in the book might be cheaper.
Ring of Resistance is 6,000 each.
Really, 6,000? Well, she's selling it for 2,000.
Alrighty.
We need it. Oh, we die. I say that's the most valuable thing that we buy.
I'm not sure about that. Even if we are resistant to the damage, the aging or the necrosis or decay, whatever is happening, if it's only resistance, we'll eventually succumb and we'll need a way to escape.
Hopefully we'll be out of there before then.
That's the thing, though. How? How do we plan to leave?
She thinks that it could be. She has no confirmation, but it's what she would term a demiplane. And if you're familiar with bags of holding, then you'll have some concept of what a demiplane is. So as far as she can tell, Tilverton doesn't exist in Faerun anymore. Once you go beyond that border, you're in Tilverton. You're not. She doesn't think that it's like it's in the abyss, for example, or hell, or obviously heaven. She thinks that it's a plane unto itself, at least for now. Like a transitionary period that's taking a very long time, which is not unheard of. It's happens extremely rarely in history, but most frequently places like the Border Forest have these things where gateways open up to the Feywild all the time. Maybe once a month a gateway might open, and so it's this semi-permanent permeable border between the two planes, and that's what she thinks Tilverton is right now. But rather than, again, using the Border Forest example, the Border Forest has this relationship with the Feywild, which is built up over thousands of years, and thus they leak into each other like a pair of lovers. Tilverton, on the other hand, seems to be an aberration, a place in transition. It's no longer in Faerun, as far as she can tell, but wherever it's going, it hasn't gotten there yet either. Like a black hole that hasn't yet eaten everything up.
So I think that's probably the take it out of fun party and then we'll pay it back.
All right.
I mean, that makes sense to me. If that's her only recommendation for protection, then
yeah, that's her prime recommendation. Yeah, it doesn't solve the problem of getting out, but she leaves that up to you. Would you a plane shift scroll perhaps? That might work.
I don't think any of us are capable of casting plane shift.
Well, there she can
What about
she
a
can tell you
blink?
one if you want one. A what?
A blink spell, because you go onto another plane and then you can pop back up 10 feet away.
But you'd eventually blink straight back into Tilverton, wouldn't you?
Well, you return to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of the space you vanished from.
Oh yeah, so you're hoping that like once you go through the portal, you can just go to the edge of the portal and then blink on the out to the other side, or misty step to the other side, or something. Might work. No one's
Then
done
you
it
can't
so
see
far.
the other side.
That's she suspects that.
Oh, is it on your class spell list?
I'm not sure what the price of those spells are, but they're for sale.
So I checked on the same magic item thing.
Yeah, I might as well check. I don't know what level it is though.
Yeah, cleric, sorcerer, warlock, wizard, or druid.
Might want to get more
Just
than
need
one
to
because you
stay in
nat
there
one
till
the
we're
save, nat one the check.
13th level, and then I cast it.
There we go. Just gotta grind Tilverton for a couple of levels. There we go.
Speaking of levels, would what we've done since we left TEDMR warrant a level at all, or no?
So we got the level inside Tethymar, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, and then we did the Underdark, and from the Underdark we merged in Dagger Falls. What do we do then? After we emerged from the Underdark, what happened?
we move south.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah.
And we kill the beholder.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about him. And of course removed the curse on Arabelle. That's by definition a milestone. Like, there's no doubt about that. And yeah, all right, yeah, for sure, that can be a level.
And we dealt with the freaky fae.
Yeah,
The 7th level spell scroll is 2,560 according to this.
makes sense. Yeah.
How many would we need?
I'd probably pick up like maybe 2 or 3 just in case.
Pick up the extras.
Really fudge this the ability check.
Like, yeah.
What is
Well,
it?
we have 250 worth of party wealth, so.
Yeah. All right. How about we get the tuning fork and say 3? I think 3 chances. Bearing
Yeah.
in mind that if we somehow fail all 3 rolls, like we're screwed.
Pretty unlikely, but yeah, could certainly happen. And inspiration.
Yeah, what's your minimum? The minimum you can roll on a wisdom check, Sildarin?
Just a check, not a saving throw.
Yeah.
I have a +5 bonus, so can you do guidance on those?
Yeah. Yeah, +3. And a guidance.
You add your proficiency bonus, and then it would be 12, I guess.
So wisdom check, right? So yeah, I don't think you would add your proficiency bonus.
What's the... Yeah, I have 16.
Does bless affect ability checks? No, it does not. And the required number for a 7th level spell would be what? It's still quite a bit of margin for error. Okay.
Potentially.
We also have 3
More
attempts. You would
chances.
have 3 attempts. Yeah. And there's an inspiration involved.
Be horrible odds to fail 4 rolls.
Pretty unlikely, man.
They'd only need
Yeah.
a 7 or higher, 8 or higher.
Would guidance affect it?
Guidance. I think that's already been taken into account with
Yeah,
the one.
one's been added in.
Okay.
Yeah, I reckon if we got 3 scrolls, the odds of failing all 3 of them is minuscule.
Yeah, probably less than 99%, probably.
And just so I can ask her, comparatively, what level was the adventuring parties that went in? Or however you would word that in normal speak.
None of them
How
were particularly experienced.
Okay.
Yeah, like they struggled with the spell magic.
Bright pools.
Also, I won't be needing a ring of necrotic resistance because I'm resistant innately.
Mm.
That's hot.
Yeah, Asimar are pretty cool.
It'll save a bit of money.
I don't have the math to deal with. I don't have the math knowledge to deal with it, but if someone does, I wanted to get a percentage of a failure chance with 3 attempts.
Oh, I have
Adding
no idea.
in, if you had to get
maths.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have lost all of that.
The
first
resistance
roll is-
you only take half damage, necrotic damage.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, it buys us time. Can we do spell like vitality or any of those things give us back, or is necrotic damage unrecoverable?
Just an alternate damage type, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Don't think it affects our ability scores or anything like that.
So we have
I
to
know
get out of
Pathfinder, that was the thing.
officially. So we doubled our time. But there's no vitality spells or anything like that that'll give us our hit points back or whatever's necrotically affecting us.
I don't think so.
All right, well, we need to shut this down fast. We need to zap this plane bubble.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be a win?
So is that our objective then to, shut the plane down, whatever that means?
If we need to.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes no sense for the land. I mean, Lady Eleanor, would be another part of the North retaken.
Yeah, I definitely want to know what happened there.
If we can give Tilverton back to Cormia, then I think.
All right. Well, look, you're probably going to want to see what Tilverton looks like. So here's an old map of any time that was more than a few months ago. That's what it looked like.
Awesome. It doesn't look like it's going to take us a 10-day, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's not the biggest town.
What healing capabilities, just so we can get an accurate estimate, do we have? Because with the 9th level, I'll also be able to do 3 heals a day of 2d6.
And if we get stuck there, if we bring food and water in, it might go bad. Because anybody can make food and water.
Yeah, I should definitely
Water
be
doesn't go bad, but food might. We need some
I could do that. I could purify or create, theoretically.
Well, if the wizard is to be believed, any organic material in the realm decays very quickly, so any rations we bring with us aren't going to last very long.
Right. So that
Yeah.
Goodberry would be a good spell for someone to have. Good thing we have a
What is
rabbit.
it?
Goodberry.
Yeah.
Then everybody would have. That's what acts as one ration for the day. If you eat it. Good thing we have a ranger that could put it on a spell list.
Yeah.
If he levels up.
Artisan doesn't understand why food and water is important.
3,000 years. You think you'd figure out what
Fuel source.
you need. Cool. So do we agree that Phoenix would put Goodberry on his spell list? I'm not. Yeah. Jake. Since he's not
I
here.
imagine he probably would, but he's not here.
Especially if he gets a level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we probably won't go in there this session, so.
Why not?
Oh yeah, we do have an hour. Another thing that's cool, by the way, I get Aura of Vitality at 9th level, which is now. So for a 3rd level, for a minute, I can spend a bonus action to heal people 2d6. I want to have a lot of healing capabilities and all that. So.
Do you need anything else from this lady?
Apart from the 3 scrolls of plane shift and the spell component needed for it, then I think that's about it. Whoops.
That's all
Well,
we need from her.
Yep.
I was
When
just
you're
going to
ready
say
to
that's
go.
all we need from
Yep. She will accompany you.
Ooh, more lab rats, I guess.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. She wants to watch
Coming
the.
in?
No, absolutely not.
Coming in, the water's fine.
So are we
It's
spending
coming to the end.
here? Are we doing that 10-day before we go in and getting our spares in order?
I'd say so.
And you're gonna make
Sure.
that especially hot thing?
Yeah. I sure as hell hope it does. Can we... Oh, we'll get a long rest in, so I guess we can go ahead and start leveling our characters. Get a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
rest in 10 days.
Hopefully.
Well, that being said, while we're in the 10-day, I put all the plans in place if we don't come out, that the dirge reports to the council and my uncle for guidance. And go say goodbyes to the brothers of the Hammers.
If you don't return, they will see that your dream lives and succeeds. But of course, they know that you will return. You will find a way to do the impossible.
For some reason, my character mancer is acting up. There we go. Maybe.
Yeah, mine didn't work either.
Okay.
Trying to figure out what I'm supposed to roll.
What the hell?
Nope, that's not right.
I refreshed Roll20 and it put me into a different game.
Certainly not what you want.
1-1.
Bit comical.
It's not rolling for me, so it's just saying rolling 1 undefined. So that's, for some reason, it's not working at all. I'm going to try exiting and going back in.
Sure.
Roll20 just dies as we try to finish out the last hour.
Can't handle it. Yeah, it's loading, like I'm just reloading it and it's loading really slow for me. Lagging. Oh, there it goes, it just started working.
I'm going to have to do this manually.
Huh. Yeah. Maybe you will.
Hey, we get +4 proficiency bonus.
That is cool.
Still not working. So. Taking a 5. One d8 plus your con. That would be 8. If I get 2 third level spell slots, does that mean I get 2 third level spells?
You,
Let me check how the artificer does spell casting.
good call, man. Yeah, you should probably give him a definitive answer like that. Yeah, thanks for that.
Spell casting. Let's see. It looks like you're a preparation caster, like clerics and paladins, which means that you know all the spells that are available to you at that level, but you can only prepare a certain amount of them.
Okay.
Which the amount you can prepare is your intelligence modifier plus half your artificer level. So if your intelligence modifier is 3, then you'd have 7 spells you can prepare. God, artificers get ridiculous at high levels.
Yeah.
Starting at 18th level, like you'd never reach that level because campaigns tend to never go that far. But assuming you did, you can attune to up to 6 magic items at once.
Yep. And then at 10th, I can attune to 4.
6 magic items, that's crazy. You also ignore class, race, spell, and level requirements when you attune to a magic item.
There you go.
Don't come up much, but they come up a bit in this campaign,
Mm.
more than other games.
And I get my first AoE attack. Hell yeah. Conjure Barrage.
Conjure Barrage.
Yeah.
It's like the poor man's fireball.
60-foot cone of 3d8 damage. That's
60
cool for
cone.
something that doesn't innate. Yeah.
It's a pretty big cone.
Pretty cool for something that isn't an AoE character.
Yeah, Paladins don't get AoE until I think 17th level, whatever it is, whenever they get 5th level spells. Until then, they have no AoE at all.
Damn.
That's fine, that's their weakness. They do really good single target damage, that's what they're good at.
Do really good support stuff.
Yeah, they're also like, support. I'd say that a ranger, like with the sharpshooter feat, is much better at doing single target damage than a paladin.
Yeah. I played a ranger.
Oh, go ahead.
I played a ranger for my first legitimate character in D&D, and that fucker destroyed.
Yeah. I don't see it done very often, but a fighter that chooses to use a ranged weapon and then takes sharpshooter as well is absolute menace.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, like at high levels, the fighter's making 4 attacks, each of which are enhanced by sharpshooter. If they action surge, I think it's 8 attacks.
Wow, that's nasty.
If they're hasted, I think it's 9. If they action
and then you can have an offhand attack as well with your bonus action, I suppose.
Yeah.
You use the
Maybe.
crossbow. And then the crossbow reloading even makes it more.
Yeah, so imagine they all hit.
I'm playing.
That's with the sharpshooter. If they all hit somehow, that's like almost 100 damage, just on sharpshooter alone.
Whoa. Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if a high level fighter with a magic bow or something with sharpshooter, getting a really good round of attacks, was able to do like upwards of 200 damage if they action surge.
Yeah.
I've never seen it done though. I've never seen a fighter pick a ranged weapon.
But you were there that day when that dude who built the sorcerer paladin did 250 damage against the dragon, right? You were there that day, weren't you? Yeah. I think it was like 256, 264, something like that, in a single fucking hit. It was incredible.
But then he was like totally spent. He had no spell slots left after that.
He never played again.
It's like,
he
cool,
achieved the ultimate Nova.
Yeah, very one note.
Oh gosh.
Ooh, I can actually take, if no one else can, I can take create food and water.
I can take it also, but if you want to take it instead, that's fine. Finnick might also take it, but it's not here.
Okay.
So I think create food and water or good berry would be our best bet for rations, because anything we take in with us will decay really quickly.
Yeah. I'm also going to be taking Revivify unless someone else has it.
Oh, got it. Well, you can take it as well. I don't think you too much. I don't think you can have too much Revivify.
Yeah.
I think we need diamonds to spellcasting components, but I think we have 17 diamonds worth 1,000 gold, so that should do it.
I'm trying to see if there's anything that could help us with necrotic bullshittery.
Just rings of resistance, really.
No spells?
There's a spell called Aura of Life, which lasts for 10 minutes, and there's a 30-foot radius aura around the caster, which gives everybody inside it resistance to necrotic damage. But I don't think any of us can cast it. And it also only lasts for 10 minutes, of course, so it's not going to last It's not going to last the entire time we're in there.
Oh, it's a 4th level spell.
Yeah, I think rings of resistance are what we're looking for. Which also means that you're going to have to unattune to one of your magic items to make room for it.
Yeah.
The War Wizard School. I think that's where we need to go. Figure
I'm
out.
willing to bet.
Definitely.
I'm willing to bet that's where it all happened.
Post haste.
There's a Shrine of Seamorph on the way there. I'll definitely want to check that out as we pass by.
Well, it's good that we have Locke with us because I'm sure there's gonna be some undead creatures just thriving in there.
Undead, yeah, maybe, but if they're like, skin and bones, they're gonna rot it away by now.
Necrotic
the only
effect,
thing,
too.
Maybe they're growing.
yeah, maybe.
Only one way to find out.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe there's
So
constructs.
have we finished with our have you finished with your characters?
Yeah, I've leveled up, I think. Oh no, I've increased my HP. I haven't done that.
And then that?
I always take the average though.
And this is exactly one of those circumstances where somewhere in one of these files I have the relevant information for Tilverton. It might be this file that I just found. It might actually be this file. Anyway, in any case, I remember what's going on there, even though I haven't been there for a bunch of years. So, hopefully this will run pretty well. From Half-Hap or Harndorf, the distance to Tilverton is only a matter of miles. Are we on a... No, we're not on a map that will reveal that. How many miles? Not the large Dallas. Hormia map, I think, is probably the best one.
I throw an alibi action. I go to the dirge and I say, set up scouts
Yes.
watching for us until we get out. We'll just go in and we'll see what happens and wait for us.
Yeah, all right. So you're basically going to have like a small force watching us, and yep, that's
waiting
cool.
for us
Yeah,
or something to happen, or in report back to Hondor. You know, on the regular until we get out. We'll be there to render aid or help us carry shit.
excellent. So yeah, 30. Is that too many?
I don't know. What would be advisable? Is there orcs about? Is it threatening area? Would they have to be?
Yeah, that's right. There's orcs about. There's also barbarians as well. So a force of 30 is going to be able to defend itself. Hopefully, it won't be so many that it attracts, a greater number. Maybe they'll take it as a incursion or something. But yeah, somewhere between 10 and 30. A unit of 10 or 3 units of 10. It's formidable. It's almost an army.
And they set up if we break it and Tilverton becomes open to send a word to the lady that Tilverton's been cleared if we can break the shield. We might need to protect Tilverton from and let the council decide what they want to do with Tilverton, and if the Duke might be or the Vaughn might be watching too, he might be coming to loot it or whatever. There might be a lot of looters sacking the city if they see the bubble leave. So we need to be prepared to defend it.
True.
And you were saying Arctic before I cut you off.
What was that? Sorry.
You were going before I threw out that alibi action.
I was going. I still didn't understand.
You were talking.
Right. I'm not really sure about what. But if we're ready to go, then it's about 30 miles, which is a little over a day. So it's not that far as well. And you're able to bring with you your small army, and Raquel of the Frost and Flame, the Red Wizard, is coming with as well. Tilverton can be seen from a considerable distance away, from a distance of 10 miles. The purplish black dome that covers over it is quite obvious. And the area around that is dead. All the grass, all the trees, all dead. The sphere itself is not huge. Hemisphere, a more accurate term, is not huge. It covers an area maybe less than 1,000 feet across. The diameter of this sphere is less than 1,000 feet across, and in that, it takes in the entirety of the town. That doesn't sound right. It must be much bigger than that. That's just a bad measurement. Yeah, that must just be a. It's got to be bigger than that. But anyway, it's not particularly large. It's a few thousand feet across. It'd be maybe as much as maybe 1.5 miles. It's about the size of the central part of a town of 10,000, a couple of miles perhaps, less than 3 miles and more than 1. So this dome, this diameter dome, takes in the town of Tilverton, which itself is built around a hill. There is a castle on a hill in the middle of the town, as you will have seen in the previous picture, which we'll show again. As I said, the scale is off here. I just measured the scale, and it's definitely off, so ignore that. From 10 miles away, you can see this dome. So we probably camp overnight, since it's you travel about 25 miles a day, and it's about 35 miles away. So it's where we set up camp, that we are watching over this dome throughout the night. And a foreboding presence it is indeed. Have you chosen the spells and everything that you wish to remember for this particular day?
Yeah, just about.
So I guess do it, but to rewind a bit, because the whole reason we took the 10 days was so I could do my marvelous invention.
Yeah, cool. So go ahead and roll for that.
Yeah.
Well, so what is your marvelous invention? What are you coming up with?
I'm going to try to make something to destroy the Imperceptor.
All right, brilliant. So it's like we'll call it a disenchanter. We're making a disenchanter.
Okay. So I need an 8 or higher. Since I'm with the dwarves, I'm going to have one of them help and give me advantage. Ooh. If not, something bad happens to me.
None of us are around him.
You disenchant yourself.
Well, that's fine. I just needed a 25. So yeah, I make it.
All right. Would you like to destroy the Imperceptor?
Everyone in agreement?
Aye.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, just take my tongs and chuck that bitch in.
Does the Imperceptor have a market value?
15,000.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, which is overpriced now thanks to the introduction of the Red Wizards. But you disintegrate it, and there's nothing left but some dust, some enchanted dust, and that enchanted dust is worth 1/10 of the original value, so 1,500 gold pieces worth of enchanted dust that can be used for almost anything. Yeah, you could add it to potions, or you could use it as ink in writing spells, and a raw component for the creation of limitless magic items.
Since I could do 2, in the time that, because we had rules that since I sleep less, I can work. Can I go ahead and attempt to make the equivalent of the dwarf, or semi-equivalent of the Dwarven Forge?
Oh no, you can't make a dwarven forge out of with a wondrous invention. Rune forges are legendary items.
Something just hot enough to smith adamantine?
It's more than this. It's more than the heat. There are runes and things built into it. So the short answer is no. No. Making a furnace that will melt adamantine, that's possible. That's like not a rune forge. Yeah, so you could make a marvelous invention that it is a furnace so hot that it can melt adamantine. Yeah.
Okay. Then I guess I will attempt again.
Go ahead.
This is so nerve-wracking. Come on.
Nice.
Got it.
All right.
Got skin in my teeth, we got it.
Indeed. Indeed. And so you have constructed a anvil, a furnace that is so hot that it can melt adamantine and probably just about anything else as well. We now have a disenchanter and something that can melt adamantine. So you have two of the most powerful micro-destructive devices in the world. You know,
Nice.
this is yeah, it's like experimental physics going on here.
Tell the Dirge and the Dwarven Forge or the Dwarven Smiths they can use it as
Brilliant.
needed.
Yeah.
Now they could start setting up there.
After all,
Cool.
they're my brother and artificers, and we're part of the same clan, so I'd definitely let them use it.
Yep.
Maybe let them respect
Very
me
cool.
a bit more.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's a wonder of ancient technology. Yeah, it's your reputation increases.
The economy
now
at
the
Honda
scepter is
just
gone.
increases with the flood of mithril and adamantium and the forge that can melt it and make stuff.
And now the scepter is gone. I'm very curious what would have happened if I had touched it.
DC 20 to dominate you, but yeah, you are immune to charm. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'll try to find the wording.
1 in 22.
No worries at all.
Welcome By the Council of Netheril, damn.
So make sure you got your spells ready to go into Silverton and level up your character.
Wow, Lady Morwen must have been rolling really poorly, failing their saving throws every day.
Well, what's her wisdom save bonus?
I don't know.
There was just extra
4 or
layers.
6 or something like that. Yeah, she had suggestion on top of that and stuff like that. So yeah, it was it was just one layer, something like that. Yeah.
With the council, not that in character we know this, but the council of Netheril, so they were directly controlling her.
Interesting. Well done. You're one swole fucking bird.
Yeah.
No hollow bones here, boys.
Overnight, he just got beefy.
You might have more HP.
Huh.
How much HP do you have now? You might have more than me.
Definitely have with me. Is it working for you? It didn't work for any of us. Okay.
I always like to edit my stuff manually.
So can we go in while he's upgrading? Or should we wait?
Oh, and
Nice.
who wants? one of my magic items because with the ring of resistance, I'm one too many.
What are you unattuning?
Anyone want a cloak of
What are you giving away?
cloak of displacement or Ouroboros of arcane defense?
Come again? What?
Ouroboros of arcane defense. That's
With resistance
in
on spells.
Yeah.
I don't have anything I want to
cloak of
unattune to.
displacement. Does anyone not attune? I don't think. What's his name? The new guy.
Sildarian.
I forget his. Yeah, I don't think he's attuned to anything. Are you?
He has a ring of protection. I gave him one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Iron Stone of Protection, so I got one slot left, I guess.
Go ahead and plug it in then, I'd say. So the Ouroboros of Arcane Defense is a ring of protection, so it gives you +1 AC, and additionally advantage on saving throws against spells.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and as far as I'm aware, the AC bonuses of the ring of protection and this do stack.
They do. Speaking of that, the rings of necrotic resistance, they require attunement, don't they? Have we factored that in?
Yeah, that's why I just
do they require attunement?
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah, I
point,
thought they did. I
Sildarian.
thought
You
they
might need
did,
to
and I
keep
thought
that
you
slot
would.
open
Oh,
to
yeah,
take the ring of resistance.
Oh, by the way, I just realized this for everyone that Moog, Eleanor, and everything. If you had gotten any +3 enchantments or plus whatever enchantments to your armor, it's an additional because the armor I made for you is a non-magical +1. So, for example, my half-plate armor is a +4 because they enchanted it +3.
Yeah, I have taken that into account.
Okay.
I got the Dwarven plate. Replaced your beautiful armor.
I'd snag that Ouroboros. That's better than the Iron Stone. I'd use that.
I think everybody except for me is going to need to attune to a ring of necrotic resistance. Yeah.
I have 29 AC now.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
With the Cloak of Displacement, with shield.
Shield of Faith on top of shield.
Yeah. And then when I smith adamantine armor, even a crit won't touch me.
Will touch you, it just won't hurt as much.
Yeah.
I reckon even a Tarask would struggle to hit you right now.
Already stormed the bubble.
I believe so.
Awesome.
All right. So there we are. We camp 10 miles away. 1 mile away. We camp 1 mile away. 10 miles? 10 miles. Doesn't matter. We camp 10 miles away, and we cover the next 10 miles early in the morning, meaning that we reach the edge of the bubble, or the dome, by about 10 a.m., before the middle of the day. It's a relatively bright and sunny day, and the clear blue sky stands in such hideous contrast to this great dome of purplish blackness. The area around the dome has necrotized. The grass is dead. There are no worms in the soil. Any trees are dying, if not dead already. Their leaves having fallen off, and the tree trunks beginning to become brittle. And that's a mile around the radius, which itself is maybe 1.5 miles or 2 miles in diameter, is this necrotized effect where everything appears to be dead. Birds don't fly in there, nor do insects. So we have reached the edge of that there now, and the definitive point is difficult to say. Is the yellowing grass part of this, or does it only begin where the grass is properly dead and grey? Anyway, that's where you are. You're on that edge. You're still a mile to go before you reach the dome. And Raquel of the Silver of the Frost and Flame informs you that she has pressed on further than this and didn't discover any negative consequences.
Go right up to the bubble.
Right up to the bubble it is. The feeling that you get as you get closer is one of coolness. You start to get easy tears in your clothing, easy nicks in your skin. Like you might pick your nose inadvertently and then your nose starts bleeding. Or you might cut your fingers in a clink within the armor, and you can't stop the blood loss, even though it's only minuscule. It's just putting a bandage on it doesn't prevent the blood from keeping flowing. And these small nicks and cuts don't affect you in any way. But by the time you've reached the edge of the bubble, you're all a little bit sorer, your teeth are aching, and you're rubbing your eyes, and your sense of smell is not working properly, and your armor feels far too heavy. And there you are standing face to face, only a short distance away from this translucent dome, which reaches a few hundred feet up into the air, maybe 300 feet up into the air, to encompass the hill and the castle that's on top of the hill, maybe 500 feet altogether. But it's translucent, so you can see through it. It's not opaque, but it's not transparent either. You can see through it, but there is a color, a purplish black, and a distortion that makes it difficult to tell whether the buildings that you see beyond are actually the way they appear, or if the distortion makes them bigger or smaller or warps them in the middle. But the place does look decrepit. Dead trees, crumbling stones, rotting wood, and corpses.
Moke walks
Still
through
corpses. Yeah.
Moke walks through whatever bubble it is.
All right.
See you on the
All
other
right.
side.
You
Feel
said
an
horses
intense
are still
pain.
alive?
Corpses, not horses.
Oh.
Corpses, like people that have fallen in the street, a few hundred feet down the street. So you push through, and it's like a liquid barrier at first. It doesn't wet you, but it feels that level of resistance that you might get passing from one side of a waterfall to another. And when you look back, there's nothing behind you, just blackness. There is very little. All right. There's very little color in this area. Everything is mostly shades of purple and blue and violet and grey. Intermittent bits of green and red can be seen, but the entire palette scheme here is one of dark purple and grey.
I put my thumb up, say it's good. The rest of the party. If I'm breathing, not dying.
Now we have the option of coming in from any direction that we want. So, Moog, since you're the one making the decisions here, drop the party or party icon down just at the front gates, or wherever you want it to come. Yep, all right, straight into the front gates.
I'll throw a death ward on myself and follow the dwarf.
How long will the death ward last?
8 hours.
All right, that's 8 hours is good. That's a useful ward. Okay, so you come to the main gates. The main gates would have been open at so you're able to walk straight on through. You will soon see that there are a number of corpses littering either the streets or inside the buildings. This might be a guardhouse, and this might be a place that sells traveling supplies, and maybe this is residential. But in any case, there are a handful of corpses scattered around. Most of the material that they were carrying, like their clothing, has rotted away, but their flesh seems more to be shriveled rather than truly decomposed, like mummified, if you will.
Keep walking towards. We can see the center, right? The tower.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep walking towards that.
All right. Well, what about the rest of the party? Where you're all in there as well?
I believe so.
I'd say so, yeah.
We're in.
So I guess the main thing is to go to this tower and check it out first. Start from the center. Unless we could see, is there anything radiating? Like, look like the source of this bubble, or can we tell if it's
No, there's there's neither sound nor sight nor anything like that. But once you've entered, with the party split, with Moog already pressing on up ahead, not waiting for the rest of the group, it's Moog that triggers something before the party has even truly begun to come through. Several of the corpses begin to rise as we pass on by, and indeed some of them are still shuffling around inside their buildings, going about their daily business, cooking their food and filling out their taxes and doing other mundane things. And as you start boldly striving towards the main center, these corpses begin to notice you and begin to shamble in your direction. At first, there's like only a handful of them, and they're not really going to do so much as slow you down. But if every house has 5 zombies, and there's 1,000 houses, then
I just wait
that's
for the
only
party
half
to
the
catch up to
population.
me. Like, hurry up.
Yeah, we'll head on over. Also, I would usually have a conjured horse, but I think I'll leave it outside this time. If we're going into a wizard academy, I don't think having a horse is going to be very useful.
Yeah. And it'd probably die. I don't think they're close enough together to do all that.
I've never actually thought about what they might be. I guess they are fences. Yeah, they must be. I've never thought of it. It's just yeah, fences.
Yeah, true. Although if we are detected and say we're on like this rooftop, then don't see any reason why they wouldn't just start gathering around us and form this huge circle
Horde.
surrounding the building. True, they might. Hard to predict. Yeah, true. Zombies aren't known for being particularly clever.
So I'm not moving the icon anymore. So
All right. Sorry. Yes. Yeah.
Try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon we
So
can
this
take on
scale
like
is
100 zombies or so.
Is there any way that we could looks like there's a route like that wouldn't be seen?
Um
Any tactical in our approach at all? And find concealment,
uh
walk.
Probably not. It's it kind of looks like this place is caught in mid-picture. Like when whatever happened, it caught people unaware and unready, and so they were going about whatever they normally go about, whether that is housework or walking through the streets. So there's no clear and obvious way which is going to get there without you being seen, particularly because you can assume that zombies don't use their eyes to see. They probably have some other means of detecting the living. Um, um, and at that point, it just becomes a combination of tactics and dice rolls. But moving up the center street is maybe one of the worst things that you could do. There's no cover, and there are people lingering through there.
All right, well, I guess then we would try to find cover and concealment over here.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, sure.
Which way looks better? This way because it's broken?
Maybe. Yeah. Like perhaps what we'll do is we'll make it a 4-6 check where you have to roll multiple checks with only limited failures, and maybe the first check could be an insight check to work out which is the best way to go, since it's fairly arbitrary and difficult to tell.
I'm not the leader.
All right. Okay, so you pick the best way to go, and you can decide which way that is. All right. All right. So we'll need to get another 3 successes out of another 5 rolls. So stealth is really a good one. Sorry. Sure.
Are you moving us? Or are we not having to move the swords?
Sure. Yeah, that works. Yeah. Cool. And so we're slipping from house to house, from yard to yard, pretty well, without alerting the zombies. Make the next one a perception check. And with 4-6 checks, each person can only make 2 checks, and each skill can only be used 2 times. So someone else will have to make the perception. Precisely. That's exactly right. Sildaren, you'll notice an unusual thing about the zombies, if that's what we're going to call them. That's what I've been calling them. Is that they seem to have a spectral image that moves before them. That is to say, like, let's say the zombie gets up out of its couch and goes over to the stove and makes some breakfast. You will see the shadow that seems to be moving before the zombie, and almost like a magnet or a delayed effect, the zombie seems to follow the spectral, shadowy figure as it gets up out of the couch and goes over towards the stove. The corpse is slower than the spirit is, but they act kind of in unison. Yeah.
Curious.
All right. So we only need to make one more successful check, and we have three attempts to do it. 4-6 means you can get 4 successes out of 6 attempts. Yeah.
Where you can use cover here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could be by the temple. Like you said. Maybe that's would be cover enough.
Sure. That can be one of your checks if you want as a perception check.
Can I make another one?
You can. Everyone can make up to 2 checks, and any skill can be used up to twice. Brilliant. Yeah, the symbols seem to have crumbled and have fallen down. Some of the letters have fallen, and the brass has greened. The copper has turned. So it doesn't seem that the holiness the sanctuary is holding, and the undead are wandering through them just fine. But in addition to this, you spot a group of creatures that are dressed from head to toe, all in black, and they are watching you. While these mindless undead shuffle around the streets and inside their buildings, in the central grounds, there are 3 individuals, we'll call them ninjas, dressed from head to toe in black, moving with great subtlety, great silence, that are watching you from across the other side of the street and trying to stay out of sight themselves, but they're not going to be able to evade Sildarin's watchful gaze.
Roll for initiative.
If you wish.
Try zooming
Tiny
out.
little map up in the top left corner.
Hmm.
Well, we got to clear these guys, right?
They're in our way.
Or do we need to roll to clear these guys? Or
Yeah, sure. You can make whatever assumptions you want. Just the maps don't match up because we are not in the process of hiring a professional map maker.
The idea is to roll initiative then.
I would say we're walking up to these guys so they start coming and then we clear them individually.
Yeah.
Artisan should go first since he's untouchable.
Yeah.
We could clean up the rest.
All right. Well, put yourselves into the sort of position and order that you wish to be in. And if we roll for initiative, I guess we can see if we're able to get a full round in, or we can leave it for next week.
We're
He's on the
Yeah,
ball.
19's pretty good.
Some of us.
Why
All
did my
right.
spirit
80 Eleanor.
broken, but for some reason
Didn't
Right,
work.
I'll
Just do it again.
move, say, here and make an attack at this one.
Sure.
Where's? Oh, there it is.
This man is carrying some hardware. You hit him so hard that he drops his hardware, and as he shakes, you can see his spirit trying to pick up the pieces of hardware that he has dropped.
Huh.
kind of sad.
So the first hit is, I think, 8 and then 13.
21?
Is he actually affected by these hits?
Knocked his soul right at him.
Exactly what happened. Knocked the spirit right out of him. And yeah, you crack their body. You hit it with the halberd and split the shoulder of this labourer. But as they start to stumble, they pick up one of the planks of wood and begin to use it as a club.
Huh. I got a little bit more movement left. I'll move here and make my bonus action attack at the spirit thing.
All right.
Not sure where my macro has gone for that. So I'll just do it manually until I can make one.
Sure.
D20 plus 17 to hit.
More than enough, and you disrupt the spirit.
For 11 bludgeoning.
All right. Magical damage.
It's a magic weapon.
All right. You disrupt the spirit quite severely, and it's looking about as unhealthy as the corporeal flesh.
Alrighty.
All right. So I guess we probably shouldn't have got started. That is where we're going to have to call it. Yeah. So thanks for bearing with me in today's session as we go through uncharted territory. It's taken us a while to get the achievements that we have done, but they're pretty substantial. And you now are the masters of one of the largest private armies for 1,000 miles in any direction. You're also the first people to come here into Tilverton, into the ruins of Tilverton. So a lot of firsts, I suppose. Absolutely.
That was a hell of smiting, Eleanor, on the big bad evil guy.
The shadow vizier, yeah.
That was awesome.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.